City. This is the 2018 Phillips 66 Big 12 Conference Baseball Championship. It's day 2, and it is an elimination game coming up this morning as Oklahoma takes on Texas, two teams that came up on the short end in their opener. Today, they got to win to stay alive in the Big 12 tournament. Well, Oklahoma City is a beautiful city, but yesterday it was upset city. All of the upper seeds, the higher seeds, lost to the lower seeds. First time that's ever happened in the conference tournament. Baylor set the tone for the day with a win over 4th-seeded Oklahoma, 4-0. It was Kansas then knocking off the regular season champion Longhorns. Oklahoma State went down to West Virginia, and in the finale that ended earlier this morning, it was TCU defeating 3rd-seeded Texas Tech. So here's a look at how things shape up today. We've got the matchup right now at the elimination game with Texas and Oklahoma. Later on this afternoon in this bracket, the winner's bracket game will feature Baylor and Kansas. Hi, everybody. Alongside 13-year Major League veteran Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. It's great to have you with us. And, Mick, explain what we saw yesterday, and what does that say about tournament time and baseball in the Big 12 for 2018?
Well, I think more than anything explains that just this conference is really balanced, that anybody in this conference and anybody in this tournament can beat anybody at any time. And they proved that yesterday. Very strange by, all the lower seeds winning, but it was primarily done by starting pitching. We got to see two really good starting pitchers yesterday. Jackson Goddard for Kansas, and then the pitcher of the year in the Big 12, Kobe Bradford for Baylor.
What do you expect to see in this Oklahoma-Texas matchup? Two teams that didn't expect to be playing at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, the same type thing. Kingman going for Texas today, another quality pitcher. And Nathan Wiles has really come on that Sunday back end of a rotation for Oklahoma. So I would expect there's not going to see a whole lot of runs again.
Well, Texas, of course, entered this tournament as the Big 12 Conference regular season champion for 2018. This is the lineup that the Longhorns will be facing, put together by Skip Johnson for day 2 of this Big 12 tournament. Leading it off for Oklahoma, Cade Harris will be in right field. Brandon Zaragoza, the shortstop, hits second. Kyler Murray's in center field. He'll hit third. Batting in the cleanup spot, he didn't play yesterday, Brady Lindsley. He'll do the catching. Briley Ware, the third baseman, bats in the 5 spot. Kyle Mendenhall is at second. He'll hit 6th. Thomas Hughes gets the call as the DH today, batting in the 7th spot. Cade Cavalli, the first baseman, will hit 8th, and Blake Brewster, the left fielder, will bat 9th. There is no, for the second day, Steele Walker in the Oklahoma lineup because of injury. This is the guy the Sooners will be facing, and Nick, you'd mentioned him just a moment ago, Nolan Kingham.
Yeah, it's another big, strong kid out of Texas. You look at his numbers right there, 7-2 on the year, 4.21 ERA, 63 strikeouts and 77 innings pitched. A little bit high that opponents are hitting against him at 294, but this kid is a battler. He's got a lot of good quality stuff. So for Oklahoma, they got to come back out and they got to face another good quality pitcher right off the get-go again at 9 o'clock in the morning.
First pitch swung on and missed. 0-1. So again, it's Harris, Zaragoza, and Murray scheduled for the Sooners here in the first inning. Oklahoma enters this game with a record of 34-22 on the year. The number 4 seed in the tournament, and the second pitch is belted into left field for an early morning base hit.
Good start for the Sooners right there, who were shut out yesterday morning. Colby Bradford just did a remarkable job from start to finish. Oklahoma off to a much better start. Base hit by Cade Harris. He's really done a nice job solidifying. He's played right field today, but he's solidified the left field spot, the leadoff role. Has had an outstanding season.
So Oklahoma has the leadoff man on base. I guess the tone for yesterday was set on the very first pitch of the tournament. Baylor put the ball in play. It ended up being an error against Brandon Zaragoza, the Oklahoma shortstop, and that ball was booted. Baylor went on, had a lot of momentum, and picked up the victory. You mentioned the great pitching performance by Cody Bradford, the 2018 Big 12 Conference Pitcher of the Year, but it was an inauspicious way for an upper seed to begin the tournament with an error on the very first pitch.
Well, and really by the guy it was made by. Zaragoza is just an outstanding fielding shortstop. Started last year for Oklahoma as a freshman. And his defense has never been a question. It's always whether he's going to hit enough or not. And coming into this year, hitting 277 right now. So his average has come up, and He's just done a really nice job from the start of his career to where he is right now, solidifying the middle of the infield for Oklahoma.
And this is Zaragoza at the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Sooners shortstop. Turns to bunt again, pulled it back and took a strike, and now he's behind 1-2. 57 games this year for Zaragoza, 57 starts. He's driven in 24 runs.
Well, he was a kid that had to follow Sheldon Noisy, too. I mean, there were some pretty big shoes to fill, and I don't think that they ever thought that he would do the things that Sheldon did offensively, but defensively, he has probably been a bonus. This kid has been really good with the glove.
Kingham missing inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Noisy is now in the San Francisco Giants organization. Was on their postseason roster back in 2016. Right now he's in Nashville with the Sounds. The 2-2 pitch, guided out to the shortstop, could be 2. It's bobbled. The only play is to first, and the throw is in time, but Texas is unable to get that lead runner. So essentially, Zaragoza ends up doing what he tried to do earlier in the at-bat, and that's advance the runner. That's just not the way it's drawn up.
Well, this was a perfect double play ball right here because the ball was hit hard. Zaragoza runs good. Hamilton just couldn't quite come up with the handle on it. Looked like maybe trying to flip the ball right there before we caught it. Good thing, though, he didn't panic. He stayed with the play. Made a good, strong throw across the diamond. Got Zaragoza in time.
So here's Kyler Murray with 1 away and 1 in scoring position. And he's swinging at that first pitch and fouling it off to the left side. Murray, since the end of spring football, and he's been able to concentrate on baseball, his baseball numbers have gone up the second half of the season, especially his power numbers. 10 home runs on the year, 4 of those hit in the month of May alone.
Yeah, he's one of those guys you watch him take batting practice, and it's impressive. He hits the ball a long ways.
Rips that up the third base line and into the left field corner. That's going to score the run. Harris can walk home. He does, and Oklahoma has taken an early 1-0 lead. An RBI for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's a good piece of hitting right here by Kyler. Ball just out of the outstretched arms, right. It turns on a fastball on the inside part of the plate. You know, whenever you give good offensive teams extra outs, it always comes back to haunt you. See it here. There's a sinker that was down in. He just does a nice job staying with it. Ball ripped down the third base line. But going back to Hamilton not being able to field that ball cleanly, that's a double play. So now you don't give up the run right there.
Yeah, officially it doesn't go down as an error, but because you can't assume the double play.
Who did a really nice job right there was Hibbler getting over to that ball and limiting Murray to just a single.
Totally agree with you. I was thinking the same thing. That I was surprised to see Murray with all his speed still at first base. That looked like a sure 2-base hit for him.
Now for him though, Murray, I mean, anytime that he does get a single or a walk, it could end up being a triple in the long run.
This is Brady Lindsley at the plate, and now behind 0-2. He did not play yesterday. Oklahoma had to revamp its lineup because Steele Walker is not able to go because of an undisclosed injury. He tried yesterday to get ready to play and was just not close to 100%. So he sat for one of the rare times in his career. Dom Dorenzo played in right field, and Mitchell did the catching. Lindsley, because of the matchup, sat. Now they've got the left-handed bat in there against the right-hander Kingham.
Well, and that's a big bat that you don't have in your lineup. Walker, 13 home runs, 49 RBIs on the year. Good to see for him, too, the power numbers. Because there's no question that Steele Walker can flat hit. But at the next level, is the power going to be there? So for him to go out and hit 13 home runs so far into this season, really good indication for him. He's going to be asked at the next level. You know, he's going to be playing either a center field or a right field spot to drive in runs. He's going to have to be a production guy. And to do that, you're going to have to hit home runs as well.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Lindsley. And he just did foul that at the plate to stay alive, 2-2. Lindsley has struggled at the plate the last 14 games, just 5 for his last 45 plate appearances. That's a 111 clip. His average has gone down from mid-April when he was hitting 346, and that was in the series against Texas, in which he had a pair of games in which he went 3 for 5. He also had an 0 for 4, but his average has gone from 346 down to 276. This ball is hit high in the air, drifting toward right center field, and it's the center fielder, Duke Ellis, who comes over to make the play. That ball carried much more toward the gap than initially it looked as though it was going to.
Yeah, not a lot of wind blowing right now, which is kind of strange for the state of Oklahoma. We've had some days back here this spring where it's blown 40 miles an hour plus.
And it's just been within the last couple of days that the temperatures have gone up and the humidity has gone up along with it. Next at the plate is Briley Ware, hitting 325 on the year. He's had a good season against the Longhorns. Kingham chases Kyler Murray back. Ware so far this season against Texas, 5 for 11 with 4 runs driven in. And the Sooners already have 1 run in the inning. Cade Harris led off with a base hit. There goes Murray, and there's no throw to second. The ball was bobbled a bit by DJ Petrinsky. I'm not sure he would have had him with a good throw.
Surprised it took him that long. Well, he gets a really good jump right here, and Kyler Murray's just one of those guys that are really special athlete, just can flat fly.
It's his 10th stolen base of the year. 1 ball, no strikes with 2 away, and a runner in scoring position again for Oklahoma in the top of the first inning. A bouncer up the middle. And the long throw over to first draws McKenzie off the bag, but he's able to apply the tag, and that retires the side. But it's a good start to the game for Oklahoma. The Sooners got that leadoff single. Cade Harris came around to score. A run on 2 hits for OU, and they lead Texas 1-0 after a half inning of play. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman, and welcome back to Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. Just underway with day 2 of the 2018 Big 12 Conference Baseball Tournament. And after just a half inning of play, we already have had a dramatic turn of events. This is what happened in the latter stages of the inning. This is Kyler Murray. He got his 10th stolen base of the season. You were wondering why it took him that long to steal the base. Now this is him afterward. You can kind of see him was really gingerly tending to himself, and then after the inning was over, as the inning came to an end, there was a bouncing ball up the middle off the bat of Briley Ware. Murray didn't even break for third with 2 outs.
Yeah, you don't really see anything right there, and you wonder, did he do something coming out of the box during his at bat? He hit the ball down the left field line. It took him basically 6 or 7 pitches to take off. And then just watching him, something could have happened right there. Could have tweaked a hamstring, something like that. But you watch him after the inning was over with. There was a ground ball hit back up the middle. He never moved on with 2 outs. And then after the inning, he walks off the field, and he's done for the day.
They limped off the field. And Dom Dorenzo, who played right field yesterday, was not in the lineup. Dorenzo has taken over in right field, and Cade Harris has now moved over to center. Kyler Murray is done. So OU is without 2 of its best home run hitters in Steele Walker, who has not played in the tournament, and Kyler Murray has exited this game. And now go back to his hit. Remember, Mick, he rips it up the third base line in near the corner in left field, and we were both somewhat surprised that he was still at first base. So something may have happened there. Here's a fly ball off the bat of David Hamilton as Texas begins its half of the first. He flies out to Harris in center field.
Well, this is not something for Oklahoma that you want to see at this part of the season.
Let's take a look at the lineup for David Pierce and his Texas Longhorns against the regular season champions in 2018. David Hamilton just led off, flew out to center field. He's followed by Duke Ellis, who's the center fielder. Second baseman and Big 12 Conference Player of the Year Cody Clemens will bat in the number 3 spot, and Ellis just got hit by a pitch. So he's on, and that'll bring up Cody Clemens. After Clemens, Zach Zubia, the designated hitter, hits fourth. Mason Hibbler will be in left and bat fifth. Batting in the sixth spot, the third baseman Ryan Reynolds. The catcher DJ Petrinsky hits eighth. Andy McGuire, the right fielder, will bat in the ninth spot. And Jake McKenzie is at first, and he'll hit ninth against Nolan Kingham. Or beg your pardon, against Nathan Wiles.
Boy, this thing started off, don't blink.
Right.
No, I made the comment a while ago. You've got Steele Walker down. Now you've got Kyler Murray down. I think both of these teams, I don't think, both these teams are very solid regional teams. This is not something that, you know, for Skip Johnson and his staff that you want to see as guys going down at this time of the season.
Clemens rips this into right field. That's a base hit. Ellis moves to second, touches the bag. He's on his way to third. The throw was caught off, and Texas has runners at the corners in their half of the first.
You know, Cody had a hard time at the plate yesterday with Jackson Goddard, Big 12 Player of the Year, and well-deserved. 19 home runs on the year. He gets a fastball from Wiles right there and takes advantage of the hole on the right side. Runner Ellis was being held on, and he really does a nice job of base running right there. Going from first to third on that play.
Clemens has had a good season against Sooner pitching. That's his sixth hit. He had 14 plate appearances. He also has a couple of home runs. Now Zach Zubia.
Nathan Wiles, he did a really nice job against Texas early in the year. You know, this Texas team, they took 2 out of 3 from the Sooners in Norman, both late inning comeback victories. But Wiles stepped in on Sunday and did a really nice job, shut them out for 7 innings. Another good fastball right there. He gets ahead in the count, 0-2.
Zubia in that series against the Sooners back in April. Series played at Norman. He had 4 hits in 12 plate appearances and drove in 3 runs and scored 3 times himself. He entered the tournament hitting .293. That average has gone up steadily throughout the course of the conference season. That pitch misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 down in the Longhorns half of the first.
Another good pitch right there from Wiles. Lindsley does a good job getting off the plate right there. And a lot of times young catchers will not move far enough and you end up reaching for the ball. If you can catch the ball more in the middle of your body, it looks better to the umpire.
The 1-2. Wiles came inside, fouled off, and will do a 1-2 again. One thing about Zubia, he has 52 strikeouts during the course of the regular season, and early on they were coming in bunches, striking out 2-3 times a game. He still strikes out about every game, but usually just once. So there's a little bit more discipline at the plate, and that's one of the reasons why that average has gone from the low 270s at the end of March to near 300 now. Just put the ball in play.
Yeah, right now that's when you need a ball in play.
All right, let's get caught up on Skip Johnson's defense because it has changed since the beginning of the game. Brewster's in left now. Harris moves from right field to center, replacing Murray, and Dom DeRenzo is in right field for the second straight game. Here's Clemens on his way to second. That's a delayed steal, and it was too delayed. He gets gunned down by Brady Lindsley, and that erases Cody Clemens. Ellis remains at third.
Good strong throw right here by Lindsley. It's a tough pitch to throw on, too. Ball's down. Does a really nice job of making a good strong throw. Mendenhall stays in front of the bag. And really now it takes the sacrifice fly away.
The 2-2 with 2 away, and Zubia goes down on strikes. So what was a very promising inning for the Texas Longhorns, runners at the corners and 1 away, they end up getting nothing out of it, and Oklahoma gets the lead after the first inning. 1-0 Sooners over the Longhorns. It was an historic day yesterday in the Big 12 Conference Baseball Championships. All of the lower seeds defeated the higher seeds, and the tone was set in day one, or in the first game, when Cody Bradford dominated the Sooners. Jackson Goddard took to the hill for Kansas in the second game. He followed suit with a workmanlike performance in getting the victory. In the second bracket, West Virginia knocked off Oklahoma State. They scored 3 runs in the 4th inning and just poured it on the second-seeded Cowboys, who had their sights on a conference championship just a couple of weeks ago. Now they're in the loser's bracket. And so was third-seeded Texas Tech. The Horned Frogs got 6 runs in the second inning. They also took advantage of 14 walks issued by Tech pitching and ended up defeating the Red Raiders by a score of 12-2 in a game that was shortened to 7 innings because of the run rule. That game ended after midnight this morning. So quite a day to open things up in 2018 in the Big 12 tournament.
After midnight, that really cuts into Georgia's beauty sleep, doesn't it?
Well, if that's the case, he needs to sleep like 2 or 3 days at a time. Leading it off in the second inning for Oklahoma, this is Kyle Mendenhall grounding it to third, and there's one away. But again, you and I talked about it in our first couple of games, and Chad McKee and George Frazier are doing the second bracket. We mentioned that if anybody going into this tournament saw that it was going to be Kansas and Baylor in the winner's bracket, that anybody who has followed Big 12 baseball this year really would not be surprised by that. A, because of the pitching of Goddard and Bradford, but also because those two teams have played reasonably well over the course of the month of May, and playing good baseball coming into the tournament can really dictate how things go when you get here.
Well, especially Baylor. Baylor come in here, one of the hottest teams not only in the Big 12 but probably in the country. Kansas coming off a series win against Oklahoma on the last series of the weekend. Took 2 of 3 from them. Had their ace pitcher going on the mound. I mean, we got a chance yesterday morning to see a couple of really special kids starting out. And we didn't even mention Jake Irvin. You know, he did a marvelous job too for Oklahoma. Just they got hurt by some early inning errors, but it was an impressive day. But once again, I just think it shows the balance of the Big 12. You know, in the last couple of years, there's been some dominant teams, TCU, Texas Tech. I think this year there hasn't been that one real dominant team, but there's been a bunch of really good teams.
That's Thomas Hughes, the designated hitter, striking out. There's quickly 2 away in the Sooners' half of the second. Cade Cavalli hitting the 8th spot is due up next for OU. And again, if you're just joining us, well, good morning. But there's already been a pretty dramatic shakeup in the Oklahoma lineup today. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, that was yesterday when Steele Walker was not in the Oklahoma lineup. Well, Kyler Murray started and ripped a shot up the third base line that drove in Cade Harris to give Oklahoma the 1-0 lead that it enjoys right now. But while he was on the base paths, Kyler Murray just did not feel right. Stole a base. But once the inning was over, he went to the dugout, and he has not returned to the field. Dom Dorenzo is the new right fielder, and he'll hit in that 3 spot behind Zaragoza. So Kyler Murray and Steele Walker both out of the Oklahoma lineup. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cavalli. Nolan Kingham delivers, and Cavalli hits it to the shortstop. That's smothered by Hamilton and picked out of the dirt by McKenzie. That's a beautiful defensive play all around by Texas.
Well, that was just fantastic right there. Hamilton does a good job going to his left to get a ball that's hit extremely hard by Cavalli. Gets up to his feet and makes a good strong throw across the diamond, and a beautiful pick by the first baseman.
See if that defensive gem sparks the Texas offense when they come to the plate in the second. Nathan Wiles is on the mound for the Sooners in this morning matchup against Texas. His team has given him a 1-0 lead with a couple of hits in that opening inning. He pitched against Texas earlier this season, but in relief, 4 innings of work.
Well, just What do you see? Just dominant pitches right there. Got a good fastball, good late slider right there. The last couple of pitches, really just, and it was huge at the time because Texas had won 2 late inning games, had a chance to sweep the series.
I said that was in relief. That was actually a start. 7 2/3 innings and over 100 pitches in that game.
Well, he's really solidified that back end spot for Oklahoma. That Sunday guy, that first 2 guys out were Irvin. Perez was there for a long time. Weil stepped in, and it gives you a chance to win a series on the back end or sweep a series.
Leading it off for Texas in the second. This is Mason Hibbler, Ryan Reynolds, and DJ Petrinsky also scheduled. Next pitch outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hibbler at 277 in the regular season. Entered the conference tournament on a 6-game hitting streak and hits in 10 of the Longhorns' last 11 games. Wiles misses inside. The count moves to 2-2. In this 6-game hit streak, Hibbler's helped the Longhorns, most specifically, get that series sweep over TCU. They wrapped up the regular season conference championship. He goes down on strikes here, and there's 1 away. Second strikeout of the game for Wiles.
Once again, just a good mixture of pitches. Starts him off with the slider. Fastball in just to keep him honest, keep his feet moving. Finishes him off with the breaking ball away.
1 away for Ryan Reynolds. Junior out of Austin, played at Westlake. And the first pitch to him is low for a ball, 1-0. Texas is 37-19 on the season. Popped up out of play, and the count moves to 1-1. Now, this was supposed to be a year with a lot of promise, but the Longhorns lost 11 players to the college draft, both players within the program and those that they had signed. Recruits opting for pro ball instead of an opportunity to go to UT, and that left David Pierce scrambling. Fouls into the glove of the catcher, Lindsley, and the count moves to, or holds it a ball and 2 strikes. And David Pierce admitted we had to do a lot of team building and team bonding just to get to know each other and trust each other, because this, a year ago about this time, was the team that they were expecting to have in 2018. Well, the pros got in the way. Got to do some late recruiting. They've relied on walk-ons.
Yeah, it's been a remarkable job, and we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, or yesterday in the broadcast, that, you know, really they just went about their business very quietly. Probably did not get the recognition that they deserve for winning the Big 12 regular season, because they played some very solid baseball, especially late in the year. And then they did what they had to do, sweeping TCU. They got some help from Oklahoma State.
There were some challenging times for David Pierce, who's the 2018 Conference Coach of the Year. You go back to the early part of the season, and they did what all of these conference teams have been charged to do, and that's upgrade your schedule, both in pre-conference play and when there's that opening in the conference season. Who are you going to play then? And really, there's not a bunch of check marks. Everybody in the league, just one big check mark, challenged their teams. And you go back to March. They had a stretch where they played 7th-ranked Stanford and 5th-ranked Arkansas back-to-back series. Things did not go well for Texas at that point. They lost 3 games to Stanford. They lost 2 games to the Razorbacks. Got outscored during one stretch 40-9, and that was leading into conference play. But they changed things dramatically. All got on page, had some success, and this carried that chemistry, camaraderie, and momentum all the way to a conference championship. And that Coach of the Year honor certainly well deserved for David Pierce. 2 balls and a strike to DJ Petrinsky.
But all these schools are doing that. They're challenging their kids early in the season, going out, playing some quality opponents, not getting themselves ready for not only the Big 12 play, but for postseason play as well. Texas Tech, TCU, what they have done the last couple of years with their scheduling. And look where they ended up in the College World Series.
In the air to left center. And making the catch is Cade Harris, who is the center fielder who replaced or moved over when Kyler Murray exited. Dom Dorenza, remember, is in right. That retires the side. Texas goes in order, 3 up and 3 down, and through 2, it's Oklahoma 1, Texas. Well, there's Kyler Murray. He's a spectator now. His team has a 1-0 lead. Thanks to his RBI single, the ball ripped up the third base line. One of 2 hits the Sooners had in their opening inning. But somewhere in this at-bat after the hit, he got hurt, and he's out of the game. Is it here after he rounds and twists his ankle? You and I were both surprised that that shot up the line resulted in just one. And maybe this is the moment right here.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's hard to tell. You know, the good thing, just taking the shot, I mean, he's standing up, leaning up on the railing. Yeah, so it's good to see that he's at least up on his feet. Probably more of a precautionary thing more than anything.
Now, is Lincoln Riley on his way up here right now to check things out?
He might be.
Are the DEFCON changes changing right now in the Sooner football complex? Kyler Murray, one of the best players in the Big 12, one of the best athletes, and has the task of replacing Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield next fall for the Sooner football team. This ball lifted high in the air. This is deep to left, and that ball is gone. A solo home run for Blake Brewster, and Oklahoma has taken a 2-0 lead. What a shot.
Yeah, this ball got out of here in a hurry, too, and it was hit a long way to the opposite field. Brewster Jr. hadn't had a whole lot of playing time this year. Hard to find a spot for him, but what a tremendous job and a tremendous lift right here for Oklahoma. You see he got the fastball out over the plate, and he just hammers this ball to left field.
It's his second home run of the season. That cleared the fence and then some over the picnic area and onto the roof. Second home run of the year. He had one against Little Rock back on April 10th. And Brewster, hitting in the 9th spot, brought a 129 batting average to the plate today. He didn't play yesterday. Well, that's some unexpected productivity for Skip Johnson and the Sooners as they go back to the top of the order and Cade Harris.
Well, that's nice when you can always turn your lineup over down at the bottom. You can get guys producing, get back to the top.
At the plate, Cade Harris, he singled to right field and scored. That led off the game in the first. 280 on the year. He has 4 home runs and 25 runs driven in.
Well, that ball was hit a long ways, and the wind's not even blowing right now. And that's a ball that you see a right-hander hit.
When we do have wind in this ballpark, it can be a very unusual environment because you can have the wind going, the flags blowing every which way. You've got some over there in left field that are somewhat guarded by the hotels that are right on the other side of the left field fence. That ball ripped foul off to the right. And then you've got the flags that are exposed well over the wall in right field, and they can be whipping around a completely different direction.
Yeah, that's the hotels out there. They can play some tricks.
It's a beautiful scene. There's no question about it. But it can be unusual at times when Mother Nature decides to participate in the proceedings.
I've always thought with all sports, we can play in a little bit of rain, baseball, you can play in the heat and the cold, but you add wind to a sporting event and it will screw it up in a hurry.
That pitch misses, and Cade Harris has drawn a walk. So Oklahoma gets the home run to begin the inning and a walk to Harris. And that'll bring up Brandon Zaragoza, who grounded out to the shortstop, which should have been a double play ball, but it was bobbled by David Hamilton. They got the runner at first, but couldn't get that lead runner, and it turned out to be pretty costly. Now, it does not go down as an error, but it was a key moment in the game. They could not get the lead guy.
You give a good hitting team an extra out is what you do.
Zaragoza turns to bunt, which is what he did in his last at bat, trying to move Harris over. Couldn't get the job done, but he did put the ball in play. And Texas got an out on the play. It's just not the one they wanted. You got to get the lead guy, and they couldn't do it. Zaragoza at 276. Infield double play depth. This bunt is a beauty. Kingham's only play is to flip to first. He does just in time. So Zaragoza is retired. There's one away. Give him a sacrifice, and Cade Harris moves into scoring position.
A really nice job right there by Zaragoza. Just deadening that ball right there. It's really in nowhere land. Kingham, for a big guy, does a good job getting off the mound, but an excellent job right there of sacrificing, getting that runner up, getting him into scoring position.
Now Dominic Dorenzo, his first at bat. This was where Kyler Murray was penciled in. Off speed for a called strike. Dorenzo did play in 2 of the games in that Texas series back in April, but both appearances were as a pinch runner. He's not seen a lot of playing time this season. Injuries have really hampered 2018. This ball lifted high in the air, shallow center field. Duke Ellis makes the catch, and there's 2 away.
Lorenzo had a good swing at that ball, just got up underneath it just a little bit. I think this is a big run for Oklahoma right now. If they can get this run across, Wiles has obviously had success against Texas in the past, and he looks like he's got good stuff again this morning.
And now Brady Lindsley, who flew out to center field back in the first inning. Lindsley against Texas, 6 for 14 in that series in April. He had a modest 7-game hitting streak back in March. That's a season long. Not many hits of late, though. 1 ball to him. Kingham a couple glances to second, and now the pitch. 2-0.
Even though it's early in the ball game, we've only got the top half of the 3rd inning. You do have a base open right here. You've got a right-handed hitter, Briley Ware, standing on deck.
Again, this is an elimination game. Texas and Oklahoma losing yesterday. The Sooners dropped their opening game to Baylor, and top-seeded Texas lost to the number 8 seed Kansas Jayhawks. Both teams victimized by great opposing pitching. 3 balls, no strikes, 2 away. Right-hander to left-hander, and Lindsley gives that pitch to him, 3-1.
Yeah, he didn't give in to him right there, 3-0, just in case he was allowed to swing the bat. Fastball still on the outside corner. Once again, you've got a base open right here. Right-hand hitter standing on deck. Maybe play the percentages.
Topped him up left side. Hamilton comes in, calls off Reynolds. He makes the catch, and the side is retired. But it's another good inning for Oklahoma. Some unexpected production from an unlikely source. Blake Brewster hitting a .129 on the season, led off the 3rd with a solo shot going the other way deep to left field. Ball cleared the fence easily and puts Oklahoma on top by a score of 2-0. The Longhorns are coming to the plate in their half of the 3rd next. It's a warm day in Oklahoma City, no doubt about it. The humidity doesn't feel quite as uncomfortable as it did yesterday. No severe weather is expected today and really throughout the rest of the tournament. It always seems as though there's that one day when everybody's got their eyes, one eye on the radar and one eye on the game.
Well, especially this time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Goes without saying usually. Leading it off for Texas in the Horns half of the third. They're the home team on the scoreboard. Andy McGuire gets the start today. He'll be followed by Jake McKenzie, then back to the top of the order and David Hamilton. Swinging at the first pitch, it's gloved by Wiles. A strike to first, and quickly there's one away. Well, yesterday we were talking about pitch counts that were climbing, especially Wiles' teammate Jake Irvin. He threw 59 pitches through the first 2 innings. Ended up going 5 innings and throwing 105 pitches. So far, it's been kind of an easy day for him. It has been extremely efficient.
That's what happens when you throw strikes.
He's thrown 27 pitches so far. 11 in the first, 15 in the second, and 1 here. Now Jake McKenzie takes a strike.
Well, what that does too, if you've got a guy out there, he's in rhythm, he's throwing strikes, that helps your defense out, because now your defense is not just seeing, ball 2, ball 3. You're getting a guy that's keeping the ball in play, throwing a lot of strikes. It keeps you on your toes.
The appeal to first, McKenzie did not go around to count a ball and a strike. Swing and a miss, 1-2. John Brammer is at home plate. Michael Banks is the first base umpire. Doug Williams is at second, and the third base umpire is Mike Morris. In the air, shallow center field, and that dumps into that triangle of Sooners. And it's a single for Jake McKenzie, a base hit in that number 9 spot, second hit of the game for Texas.
Ball that's not hit hard, but well placed. Wiles gets in on McKenzie just a little bit, but able to fight it off and dump it out into right field for a base hit. Those all look like a bullet, though, hit on the score sheet.
Top of the order, and David Hamilton, who flew out to center field to begin the game for Texas.
It's going to be important for Texas to answer. They got shut down yesterday. Wiles obviously has done a fabulous job against them thus far and earlier in the season. You don't want to let this big guy get locked in. The next thing you know, you're late in the ball game and you're fighting to score runs.
That's off. 2 balls and no strikes. Hamilton in the series against the Sooners opened up going 3 for 4 the opener, then 1 for 7 the rest of the way. Closed out the regular season on an 8-game hitting streak in games against Texas State, Texas Tech, and TCU. His average has climbed considerably the last 2 weeks of the season throughout the course of the month of May, hitting .308 coming into the conference tournament. 15 for his last 35.
He's done a really nice job out of the leadoff spot. Done an excellent job solidifying the shortstop position. Him and Clemens in the middle of the field. Really good double play combination. He can run.
His average at the end of March was well down at .235. He went through an 8-game hitless streak March 10th through the 24th. So those hills on the roller coaster have been high peaks and low lows. Gone from 281 to 229. He's on the up, though, hitting at .308, and he draws a walk. So 2 aboard now for the Longhorns. That'll put McKenzie at second base after the walk. Hamilton reaches. That's the first free pass via the walk issued by Nathan Wiles. He did hit Duke Ellis back in the first inning, and he was stranded at third. 2-0 is the score. Oklahoma has the lead. A base hit to begin the game and a run that was manufactured in the first, and then the solo home run off the bat of Blake Brewster in the third. Texas now 2 aboard with 1 away in their half of inning 3. And now Duke Ellis. Interesting that Ellis and Hamilton, their batting averages have been on a very similar trajectory from the end of March to where they are now. Again, Hamilton well down in the 220s at one period in March and now hitting 308. Ellis at the end of March was at 224, hitting 309 at the end of the season. You might see that, but it's interesting that it's 2 guys that are in the same position, essentially 1-2 in the lineup.
Oh, just basically feeding off one another. I think whenever you get somebody like Hamilton hitting in front of you, you get on base, that creates a lot of fastball opportunities for guys because you're worried about Hamilton running, so you're going to throw fastballs so you can throw him out. You put a good fastball hitter behind him, it certainly helps things out a lot.
And now I've got a meeting on the mound amongst all the Sooners. Initially, this was Lindsley going out to talk to Nathan Wiles, and now you've got everybody there on the hill.
Yeah, this is one of those meetings you're trying to break the rhythm of the inning up. You know, he walked the guy before him, comes out and he throws 2 quick balls. You know, it's just go out, you know, get his mind off of it, have him refocus, make sure you know who you got on the ground ball if the ball's hit back to you. More than anything, it's just Skip going out there and say, look, kids, you got good stuff. Let's get the ball back in the strike zone, make these guys swing the bat.
Initially, it seemed as though it was Lindsley going out trying to get on page with Wiles. Maybe settle him down just a little bit. And then the boss brings the book out. All right, everybody, let's get on page here. Skip Johnson spent 10 years as an assistant coach under Augie Garrido at Texas. Became an assistant at Oklahoma for 2017. And after last year's campaign, which saw the Sooners go to the NCAA tournament, Pete Hughes left and Skip Johnson was elevated to the head coaching position after so many years coaching not just at the University of Texas but throughout the state of Texas. And 2 years into his move to Oklahoma, he's the head coach of the Sooners. And that was a hire that was universally praised throughout the Big 12 and the college baseball community.
Yeah, Skip's done a good job. He's done a good job with recruiting. I think that you look at some of the kids that they're bringing in. You know, he has really gone out, and especially in the state of Oklahoma, has done a good job of recruiting home state kids.
While maintaining those Texas ties. You don't want to break those relationships.
No, not at all.
Off the fist and perhaps off Wiles, that goes to the shortstop, touching the bag for 1 on to first, and that's a double play. That might go down in the books as a 1-6-3 double play the hard way. But a great job defensively by Zaragoza to get the glove on it, get to the bag first, and a nice toss to the bag to close out the side, and the Horns have yet to score. One of the highlights on the calendar every year is the trip to Oklahoma City for the Big 12 Conference Baseball Championships, sponsored by Phillips 66. Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark has been the site. There have been a couple of other places where the tournament has been played. Tulsa just a couple of years ago, but this always feels like home. They do such a great job of running the tournament, and this is a crown jewel centerpiece of the Bricktown area of Oklahoma City. An area that has really revitalized this community. It's amazing what ballparks do, not just in major league cities, but in cities like Oklahoma City. And of course, in Omaha, where the College World Series is played, they moved from the hill where Rosenblatt Stadium was for, well, seemingly since the country was founded, but for many, many decades. And they put that park in downtown Omaha, put tradition aside. They left home plate near the Henry Dorley Zoo, and the way that city has built up around the ballpark downtown, TD Ameritrade Park, and it has become the Citadel for college baseball. It has been for years and years and years, but to go to downtown Omaha, much like we come to downtown Oklahoma City for this tournament, it's just great the way people have responded.
Yeah, being from Oklahoma and Oklahoma City in particular, I mean, this was the beginning stages of some stuff that they have done really special. And you know, you've got all the entertainment down here now, the river walk. It's just the whitewater, you know, rafting facility over here. You got the U.S. Olympic team that works out of there. It's just it's been an amazing run. It's been fun to watch it.
Leading it off for Oklahoma in the top of the fourth is Riley Ware, and he sends that up to center field. It's gloved by Duke Ellis, and there's one away. 2-0 is the score. The Sooners got one in the first and another in the third to lead top-seeded Texas. Next up, Kyle Mendenhall. He'll be followed by Thomas Hughes. The scheduled 3 for the Sooners here in the top of the fourth inning. Pace of play in this game
a little quicker.
Quicker than yesterday.
We may have just put the whammy on ourselves, too.
That's okay.
You know, one important aspect of Oklahoma City we didn't even mention was the Thunder. You know, by them coming to town and what they've been able to do. And
Chesapeake Arena is just a couple of blocks
right
to the west.
Jam-packed in there every night.
One strike to Mendenhall. Lined again to center field. Ellis took a couple of steps in, drifts back, and makes the catch. 2 away.
Oklahoma's certainly having some good swings at Kingham. They've hit some balls hard this morning, had some balls hit hard right at people. Another ball there. It's a little bit of a soft liner, but Mendenhall had a pretty good swing at him.
How tough is it to play at 9 a.m.?
Oh, it's extremely difficult. And, you know, what reminds me is that you get that note on your chair in spring training when you're a rookie and say, hey, we need you on the backfield tomorrow morning. You know, our ace, he needs a little extra work. He needs to face some live hitters. And you're not awake. You know, you're not accustomed to playing at this time in the morning. It's difficult, you know, and for both these teams, to me, this is an extremely important tournament for both of them. They're both solidly in a regional somewhere. For Texas, I think if they can go on and win this tournament somehow, they could host a regional, possibly be a national seed. For Oklahoma, they've won a lot of games over the last couple of years, but they have not won a championship. And I think they got to stick around in this tournament for as long as possible. They were 2-0 last year. They ended up going to a regional. They were 2-0 there. If you want to get your program back to winning championships, you've got to start winning things. And whether it be the regular season or a tournament, you know, a regional. So it's extremely important for both these teams. And I think more so Oklahoma to see how deep that they can get in this and make this run and get these kids used to playing in big games in tournament situations.
Back-to-back base hits for Oklahoma. Hughes got one just a moment ago. He goes to second, and that ball skips off the mound and into center field off the bat of Cade Cavalli. Well, these 7, 8, 9 hitters for Oklahoma. That's the third hit for that trio. Brewster had the home run to lead off the third. And
that's the second ball that Cavalli has hit right on the button after having a difficult day yesterday. 3 strikeouts. Hit a hard ground ball first time up that Hamilton made a great play. But here's the big blow by Brewster right here. Got the sinker down and away. And like I said, where he hit that ball is almost like a right-hander hit it.
And he takes a pitch low and away. Brewster didn't play yesterday, but in the lineup today.
Well, he's had a difficult time finding a place to play. You got Steele Walker, who's an All-American. You've got Kyler Murray in center. Kate Harris has taken the left field spot over.
Bouncer to the first baseman, and that's played by McKenzie, with Kingham getting over to cover the bag, and the side is retired. So Oklahoma got a couple of 2-out hits from Hughes and Cavalli, but they're stranded, and we've played 3.5 in Oklahoma City with our score. The Sooners 2, the Longhorns nothing. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. 2-0 is our score through 3.5. Oklahoma a run in the first, another in the third. The Sooners have 5 hits already in the game, just 2 for Texas. Cody Clemens is set to lead things off in the 4th inning. He'll be followed by Zach Zubia and Mason Hibbler. After that stretch I mentioned earlier when Texas challenged itself in the non-conference season, then had losses to Stanford and Arkansas. They began conference play, losing series to Kansas State, to West Virginia. In late April, Texas was 4 games back in the conference standings to Oklahoma State, but then ended the regular season winning 2 of 3 at Texas Tech and then sweeping TCU. Oklahoma had some bad luck at the wrong time, and that opened the door for David Pierce and his Longhorns to take the title. I mentioned yesterday, surprising and deserving, the conference champions for 2018. But they've got some work to do in the tournament, losing yesterday in their opener. They got beat by a solid pitcher in Jackson Goddard. And now they've got to come back today, and today they're going to have to come from behind if they're going to stay alive in the tournament, trailing Oklahoma 2-0. At the plate, leading it off, Cody Clemens. He singled back in the 1st inning and then got thrown out trying to steal second on what appeared to be somewhat of a delayed steal. He got thrown out rather easily by Brady Lindsley. Great season for Cody. 341, 19 home runs, 61 runs driven in. A bouncer wide of first. That's foul, and the count holds at 1 ball and 2 strikes. David Pierce was high in his praise for Cody Clemens, and deservedly so when you take a look at those numbers, but also for his leadership. And this is a season in which, you know, he'd played side by side with his brother for a couple of years at Texas. His brother's now in pro ball, and he's the Clemens that's still there. And he's taken a leadership role, but has done a terrific job, he said, of making sure that all these new players that they had understood the Texas way, what it's like to be in the program, stepped out of his brother's shadow, essentially. Loves him as a player and as a person. There's a ball laced foul off to the right, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. It can't be easy.
No.
To carry that name.
No, not at all. Okay, that ball pulled right there. And just when you look at the Oklahoma defense, they've taken Briley Ware from 3rd base and put him at 2nd base. Mendenhall is playing in right field, and Clemens does just the opposite of what they were wanting him to do and hits it into left center field. Very unique defensive setup right there.
Clemens gets the two-strike base hit to lead off the 4th. He's now 2 for 2 in the game.
You know, you normally don't see that a lot where you take your 3rd baseman and move him over, but what they did, they just kept Zaragoza at his shortstop position.
So Wiles to work against Zach Zubia, with Clemens aboard at first. Tap foul.
Yeah, you mentioned, you know, Roger, and obviously all the wonderful things that he did as a big league pitcher, and you know, his kids. He's had 4 sons play at Texas, all of them extremely good players. He's got to be a proud papa.
Well, there's no question that his sons would understand the game, but not just the nuances of baseball. That ball's a hot shot to the shortstop Zaragoza. It eats him up. Clemens takes a wide turn at second, falls down, but scampers back, and he's safe. Back-to-back hits to begin the fourth for Texas.
Now this ball was smoked right here. It looked like it went through Zaragoza. If he could just stay with it just a little bit longer, maybe keep the ball in front of him, you definitely got a force play at second base. But Zubia ripped this ball. Once again, though, Texas got base runners. And base runners in the first inning, and 2 base runners in the last inning. See it right here, just ripped.
And that's a base hit for Zubia.
Oh, it has to be. That's a tough play.
Mason Hibbler's next. He struck out back in the second. 2 aboard for Texas in their half of the fourth. The home team on the scoreboard playing in Oklahoma City. Take a look at Cody Clemens as he gets around the bag at second, puts on the brakes, and the brakes go out from underneath him. And now he's got to get back to the bag, and he made it there without a throw.
Well, he thought about going, but once again, you've got a big inning going. You can't run into an out right there, especially the first and third out at third base. It's one of those unwritten rules that somebody needs to write down.
The unwritten rule book of baseball is bigger than the actual rule book of baseball.
Well, it varies on which day it is. It can be 1 page or it can be 100.
What are some of your favorite unwritten baseball rules?
Well, I think it has to do with respecting the game. You know, you get up on a team, and this more on the big league level. You know, you get up on a team, you don't run, you don't start stealing. You respect your opponent and respect the game.
That's popped up and takes some backspin, and the Bellata rolls foul. At the plate is Mason Hibbler. A ball and 2 strikes to him.
You know, for me, like I said, it has more to do with respecting your opponent and respecting the game. A lot of it, which I think has gone by the wayside when you watch big league baseballs. I mean, everything you hit a home run now, and it's a parade around the bases. And we just talked about Roger. You know, you wouldn't have paraded around the bases with Roger. I remember my first career home run I hit against Frank Tanana. And the next time up, I was put on my butt. I was like, all right, I get it. I understand. You know, but I mean, guys, they understood. They respected the game, and they played the game that way.
So the bat flip would not have gone over well in the Tettleton era.
Well, in April, no. in that situation, there's been a lot of, you know, conversation about that. In that situation, I mean, it's the postseason. You know, the emotions are running extremely high, especially in that game and everything that had happened in that game.
But for Batista, it kind of became a trademark and expected that after every home run,
well, and
now that's the norm, and that it's okay for everybody else to.
Yeah, and I just think that, you know, once again, you have to respect the game, and it's just, you're not trying to show anybody up. You know, okay, you hit it, now get around the bases. Let's go.
Taking a look at strike 3 is Hibbler. Called out on strikes by John Bramer, and there's 1 away in the Horns' half of the fourth. Still have runners at first and second. Hibbler's gone down on strikes now for the second time. And that'll bring Ryan Reynolds to the plate. He's also struck out today.
Well, not only did he strike out, but was not able to get the sacrifice down to advance the runners.
The only reason you let him chew on you is because you know it was wrong.
So 2 aboard for Texas. Clemens is the runner at second. Zubia behind him at first. Wiles is in his first real jam. How will he handle it? And pitch just a bit outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
You know, I wasn't going back to Roger for just a second. I was by no means thinking about it at the time, but thinking back on it, and I mean, it was an honor to face a guy like that. You know, a guy that there was no other guy that would compete harder in a game than Roger Clemens, whether he was getting beat or whether he was winning. This guy competed from start to finish.
Another pitch outside, 2-0. And that's one of the things that Pierce, when he talks about Cody Clemens, and certainly it's been what they've said about Casey and the others, is how coachable they are. They carry a big name. Everybody knows them at home. Everybody knows who they are and have on the road. But because they understand the game and they have been taught to respect the game and their coaches and their teammates, David Pierce says he's extremely coachable and his leadership is unmatched. And Cody has become much more of a vocal leader this season, and he's produced on the field as well.
Well, they've all been around the game. They've all been at the ballpark, you know, with Roger when he was playing, and it just, you know, they've been brought up in a baseball atmosphere, and it's, you know, it's. I had a son that played football at Ohio, played quarterback at Ohio University, and I, you know, by no means have the name of Roger Clemens, but, you know, Tyler still had you know, he's the baseball player's kid. You know, why is he playing football, first of all? But, I mean, it's hard. It's hard on these kids, you know, and it's just like I told Tyler, it's like, dude, you got to go create your own name now, you know? And fortunately for him, he was able to do it.
Tyler, why did your dad hold the bat the way he did?
Yeah.
2-1 for Texas, 1 away in the bottom of the 4th inning. Swing and a miss. Ryan Reynolds finds himself facing a full count pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. That's Clemens out there at second. He's been there a while. He led off the inning with a base hit to left. Zubia followed suit with a base hit of his own.
I think probably the most important thing I told Tyler was, hey, go play as hard as you can every day. Have fun with it. You're going to get way too much credit as a quarterback when you win. You're going to get way too much blame when you lose.
Fly ball to left, and that's gloved by Blake Brewster, and there's 2 away in the Texas half of the 4th. And your son is now taking his football career from the field to, well, essentially the administrative role with the New York Jets.
Yeah, he was fortunate enough to first be on staff with Bob Stoops as a graduate assistant, and then the last year with Lincoln Riley, and has now moved on to being a scout with the New York Jets. So extremely proud of him and what he's been able to do in football.
Now, he was a college quarterback. Are they telling him that he's going to work with Darnold?
No, he's not that I know of. All I know is he had to pick him up at the airport the other day, so he's having to do some grunt work right now. So you make sure that first-round pick gets here.
The glamorous life of a job in pro sports. DJ Petrinsky stands in 0 for 1. He flew out to center field to finish up the 2nd, trying to pick up a couple of Longhorns and get Texas on the board. Clemens at 2nd, Zubia still at 1st.
I will say this, and I'm sure Roger probably feels the same way. There is nothing better than watching your kids play. And for me, it was, you know, they had the MAC conference games on Tuesday night and stuff on ESPN. And my wife would ask me, is like, I really don't recognize who you are on game day.
Right-hander to right-hander. A ball and a strike now. Texas 2 aboard with no outs. But Wiles has come back, got the strikeout and the fly ball out. Still a long way to go, but this could be a real pivotal moment in this ball game. You go back to the first. Texas had 2 on in that inning and failed to threaten. But both leadoff guys on here in the 4th inning in a 2-0 ball game. High in the air. Center field, drifting back was Cade Harris. He comes in to make the catch, and the side is retired. 2 singles to begin, but 3 outs to end, and Texas is still pitching a shutout. Welcome back to Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. Texas and Oklahoma battling in an elimination game early in the day. Oklahoma has a 2-0 lead on Texas, and we're joined right now by the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, David Pierce. Coach, it's an early morning start again for your team. How difficult is it to have these early morning games of getting your team going?
I mean, both teams got to play in it, so we just have to deal with that.
Coach, you guys have faced a couple of pretty good arms in these first couple of games, and offensively, you're getting some base runners, just can't quite seem to get that one big hit to push a run across.
Yeah, I mean, situational hitting the last 2 days and getting bunts down has been our issue, but it's still early, and we got a chance to win the game still.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Coach Pierce, thank you. Big 12 Conference Coach of the Year for 2018. His team tops the standings in the regular season, but finds itself in the elimination game in day 2 of this tournament and trailing Oklahoma by a score of 2-0.
Well, he certainly hit the nail on the head. They had an opportunity in that last half of the inning and to get the sacrifice bunt down, move some runners up. But a nice job by Wiles to get the strikeout and then 2 fly balls to center field to get Oklahoma out of the inning because they had runners at first and second. Texas did with nobody out. And they were stranded right where they started.
The Longhorns in this tournament are 2 for 15 now with runners in scoring position. 2 for 10 yesterday and 0 for 5 through 4 innings today. Where is that timely Texas hit?
He's right, though. There's a long ways to go. They've already proven to this Oklahoma team that they can come back on them late in games. They did it twice to them in Norman.
Top of the order for Oklahoma in the 5th. Cade Harris swings at the first pitch and lifts a fly ball into left field. That catch is made by Mason Hibbler, and quickly there's 1 down.
There's a lot of first ball, fastball hitting right now. Guys are swinging the bat. And I think that's a recognition of both pitchers are going to throw strikes. And that first one might be the best one you get.
Are you a proponent of swinging first pitch, or do you want a guy to work a little bit?
All depends on the situation. You know, now if Zaragoza swings at the first pitch right here and he makes it out, then the next guy's got to take a pitch because you got to make him throw some pitches in the inning.
Zaragoza takes a strike. Grounded out to short on a ball that should have been a double play. But it was bobbled by David Hamilton. That allowed Cade Harris to reach second. They could not get the lead runner, and then Harris eventually scored on the RBI single by Kyler Murray, who is no longer in the game.
You know, I was always taught to play the game late in the game. If, you know, until you get the tying run to the plate, you've got to take a strike. Once you get the tying run to the plate, then you got to start swinging a bat.
1 ball and 1 strike to Zaragoza. An appeal to first. He did not go around. 2 balls and a strike. Oklahoma's facing Nolan Kingham, a junior out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Painted on the outside corner for a strike, and now it's 2-2. You wonder how much Kingham has become a hockey fan this season.
I would imagine quite a bit. Amazing run by the Vegas team. The Capitals will face the Capitals, I believe it is.
Yeah. This ball driven into the gap, right center field. Diving forward and missing it is McGuire. It gets past Ellis. Zaragoza never stopped. He finds himself at second base. All that developed right in front of him. So he knew what was happening with McGuire and Ellis, and when Ellis couldn't play it cleanly, he took that extra base.
Well, this ball's hit hard into right center, and a great effort here by McGuire, but the ball just hits off his glove enough where it misdirects it and changes directions. So Ellis, he's right there to back the play up, but the ball was just changed direction just a little bit. Zaragoza heads up play, standing on second base. Good play all the way around. Good effort in the outfield by McGuire. Excellent base running by Zaragoza.
7th double of the season for Zaragoza. He's in scoring position with 1 away for Dom Dorenzo.
You a hockey fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Especially playoff time. Wow.
One of my good buddies is Grant Fuhr.
Oh. He had a good run with some good players back in the day.
Played with a dude named Gretzky.
Yeah.
He was okay.
Off speed, Dorenzo goes down to a knee, and it's 0-2.
We used to have some, you know, we'd get back from spring training in time to watch the Red Wings just about the time that they were going into the playoffs. Boy, it was just fascinating. Hockey's an amazing sport to me.
Yeah. 2 strikes to the hitter.
I used to ask Grant all the time, I was like, you guys are beating the tar out of one another, slamming each other into the boards, and you get a 2-minute penalty for roughing. What is that?
Well, and he was a goalie. He was never part of that stuff. He got roughed up in the net. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ripped foul. Well, Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals is a Las Vegas native, and he was quoted as saying he has gotten more nervous watching his Golden Knights this season than he has ever been at any moment in his baseball career.
Oh, it's amazing how you can get a bond. We had a bond with the Red Wings. They would come out and take batting practice, and we would go and watch them and stuff. And you're always going to have that one team from your hometown, or you're always going to be a fan of. You just don't want to be playing against them.
What was the pecking order in Detroit? You had the Pistons, the Red Wings, the Tigers, and the Lions.
Oh, that was a tough one. I think that probably all said and done, I think that
this ball off the bat of Dorenzo is going to find the left field corner. Zaragoza had to wait, but he's going to score easily. And Dorenzo, who is inserted into the lineup when Kyler Murray went down with the injury. He had a hit yesterday. He has another one today. And he drives in a run to give the Sooners a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, you come to the ballpark, you're not in the lineup, you're not really expecting to play, and the next thing you know, first inning, you're in there. He does a really nice job staying with this breaking ball right here, and just out of the reach of left fielder Hibbler, who makes a really nice effort at it. Just not able to come up with the ball, and the Sooners able to put another run on the board, and basically Dorenzo and Zaragoza just changed positions.
Back-to-back doubles for the Sooners, and they're still threatening. Here's Brady Lindsley. 1 ball and no strikes. Oklahoma yesterday was 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Today 2 for 6. One and one.
I think to answer your question, though, it's called Hockey Town for a reason.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a brand new arena there too.
Yeah,
it's kind of revitalized downtown a little bit.
Yeah, Mr. Ilitch passed away last year, the owner of the Red Wings and the Tigers. Wonderful man.
7 hits in the game now for Oklahoma, and with that foul ball, a ball and 2 strikes to Brady Lindsley. Well, really, since you left Detroit, the interest in the Tigers has dwindled a little bit.
No question. Oh, they got a beautiful ballpark there too, and then you've got the football stadium right across the street from that. Detroit has done a lot of wonderful things to develop their downtown. Even though Tiger Stadium was fun to play in, it was everybody was right there on top of you. Obviously that right field porch, but it was old. It was a dungeon. Come in April and it's freezing. You got cold showers.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And there is activity in the Texas bullpen. Chase Sugar has begun to throw. Everything's quiet right now in the Sooner pen. Nathan Wiles has a 3-run advantage to work with, and maybe more. The Sooners have Dorenzo out at second base, still just 1 away in the top half of inning 5.
And importantly, Wiles has not thrown a lot of pitches, and now he's getting an opportunity to get a little extended rest over there in the dugout. Only 1 out in the inning.
2 balls and 2 strikes. A long look to second base. And the ball dribbles towards second base. It's played by Hamilton. The throw was low, caught by McKenzie. That'll retire Lindsley, but move Dorenzo further into scoring position. So 2 down for Briley Ware.
At the plate now, third baseman Briley Ware.
earlier, grounded out to short and lined out to center. And a fastball taken for a strike. Again, no Steele Walker in this tournament for Oklahoma because of injury.
Yeah, you lose your 3 and 4 hitters in your lineup. That's hard to replace. Murray going down earlier in this game with a seemed to be some sort of lower body injury.
We saw it on the replay. We went around first base after getting that RBI single, twisted his ankle. We don't know if that's what the injury is, but that didn't look like it felt good. Certainly could have contributed to whatever caused him to exit. Here's the 1-1 pitch right back at Kingham that ricochets off his leg. Option flip to first, and just in time to get Briley Ware, and that brings the inning to a close. But it's another productive inning for Oklahoma. Kingham has thrown a ton of pitches, and the Sooners have built a 3-0 lead in this elimination game in Oklahoma City. Good start to the day for Oklahoma. The Sooners lead Texas by a score of 3-0. And we're joined by Oklahoma assistant coach Clay Van Hook. Clay, good morning once again.
Yes,
and
sir.
It has been a very good morning for the Sooners, and especially the performance you've gotten so far from Nathan Wiles. What has he been able to do for you to help set the tone for the day?
I think he's got a good rhythm on the mound. He's doing a good job of mixing his speeds, keeping the ball down, allowing our defense to work. Obviously, the defense is a lot better than what it was yesterday. So I think he's doing a really good job. His tempo's good. Our guys are pretty locked in, and the results are so far pretty good.
Clay, good to see some offense today after facing a really tough pitcher yesterday and having a hard time scoring runs.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, in this league as well as anybody, you're going to face a lot of good pitchers, and you know, this guy's not any different. But you know, I think we're just a little bit more competitive with the bats. I think we're doing a good job of staying with our approaches. I thought yesterday, you know, Bradford did a really good job of mixing his speeds and keeping us off balance. So I think our plan's good. We're just executing a lot better than we did yesterday.
And it has resulted in a 3-0 lead. Clay, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
And they've gotten some production from unexpected sources. Blake Brewster in the 9-hole, hitting a 129 on the year. Launched his second home run of the season. A monster shot over the wall in left field. And Dom Dorenzo, who was not in the lineup at the beginning of the game, inserted in when Kyler Murray left with the injury. He comes through with an RBI double in that 5th inning, which extended the lead to 3-0. So Wiles is back out there. And he also mentioned the defense. Oklahoma had 2 early errors in that opening inning against Baylor. They ended up with 3 in the game, but the 2 errors in that opening frame opened the door for the 2 runs to score. Oklahoma was playing uphill all day, could not get anything going offensively, and got shut out by the Bears and Cody Bradford 4-0. And they only had 4 hits yesterday. They already have 7 today.
Yeah, it's just one of those games when for Bradford, you know, as an opposing offense, you just got to tip your hat and say, hey, man, nice job.
And the 7 hits today.
We'll try to meet you somewhere else down the road.
The 7 hits today have come from 7 different players all throughout the lineup.
Well, you get some guys in there. Brewster has not had a whole lot of playing time. He's hungry to do something positive. Dorenzo, I mean, that's a serious wake-up call. You're basically just sitting over there thinking you've got no chance to play that early in the game, and the next thing you know, you're in the ball game.
Andy McGuire is leading it off for Texas. 3 balls and 2 strikes to him. 8, 9, and 1 scheduled for Texas in their half of the 5th. Off the plate outside, ball 4, and Wiles has walked the leadoff man in this 5th inning. For Texas, that's the 2nd consecutive inning that the leadoff man has been aboard. Clemens reached on a base hit in the 4th inning. In fact, Texas put the first 2 guys on in that 4th, but they were both stranded.
Now, Texas has had opportunities. They've had base runners. They just haven't been able to execute the little things. They get caught stealing. That takes them out of a big inning. Not able to get the bunt down in the last half inning.
And now Jake McKenzie.
The biggest thing for right now for Wiles is the plate starting to move around a little bit. He's not The command is not quite as sharp as it was early in the ball game. We're starting to see a little bit of activity now in the Oklahoma bullpen.
McKenzie's a senior out of Dallas. And a conversation now. Lindsley goes out to visit with his pitcher. 2 balls and no strikes to begin this at bat to McKenzie. After him, David Hamilton, Duke Ellis, Cody Clemens. It is not easy when you face that top part of the Texas lineup. Double play, ball in order, so the infield in a couple of steps, and now they're starting to stir in that Oklahoma bullpen. Levi Prater is doing some throwing, and now we're going to get a secondary meeting once again on the mound.
Well, I'm not sure Skip walks fast anyway, but that was a little slower than normal.
Prater pitched yesterday an inning and 2/3 against Baylor. Gave up just 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 3. He only threw 33 pitches in that relief appearance. Oklahoma used 6 different pitchers yesterday.
Well, where Texas is in the lineup, you've got left-handers getting ready to come up, and this is, you're trying to buy time right now. Give Prater those extra few pitches out there in the bullpen to get loose. Home plate umpire will run everybody off right now, and it'll be another slow stroll back to the dugout.
Well, John Bramer went out there and then hung around for a little while before he broke it up. So maybe there was a good story being told. We know that happens out there on the hill.
There's been 1 or 2 told out there.
You know I'm going to ask you to come up with a good mound story when we get a break here.
Well, it was a very, very brief one.
Well, you told us yesterday that Sparky said you were the worst catcher he'd ever seen.
Oh, there's no question.
That wasn't uplifting for anybody yesterday. McKenzie takes a strike, and it's 2-1. All right.
Greg Olson just gotten drafted. Wonderful relief pitcher from pitched with Baltimore. We were in Yankee Stadium. We're winning 2-1. And he's been brought into the game, and he takes his warm-ups. I go out to the mound, and there was a Guns N' Roses song on, Welcome to the Jungle. And I went out to him. He's kind of got the deer in the headlights look. And I said, this is a great song. And I turned around and walked off. And after the game, he goes, what'd you do that for? And I said, well, I was trying to take your mind off the situation where we were at. I had confidence in your ability with what we were going to do. But I just wanted you to relax and enjoy the moment.
Well, Nathan Wiles is enjoying this moment right now. That's a solid shot to left field off the bat of Jake McKenzie. He's 2 for 2 in the game, and that moves McGuire into scoring position. For the second consecutive inning, Texas has runners at first and second and nobody down.
And let's see if they ask Hamilton to move them up right here. You're still down by 3 runs. You've got to start getting some runs across the plate here pretty quick. And that's going to do it for Wiles. Skip Johnson back out of the dugout, going to go to the bullpen. And this is all set up by where you are in the lineup. Texas got a left-handed dominant hitters coming up.
So we've got a pitching change. Nathan Wiles looked very good through 4, but the Sooners are struggling just a bit here with Texas threatening in the 5th. We'll tell you about the change after this. Well, Nathan Wiles' day has come to an end. Somewhat surprising given the way he seemed to cruise through the first 4 innings. Got out of some trouble in the 4th. But again, Texas has been able to get the first 2 guys on base in the 8 and the 9 spot here in the 5th. And so he has been shown the door. Levi Prater, we'll tell you about him. But what did you think of Wiles and what he gave Oklahoma today?
Well, I thought he did a really good job. He's obviously had some success against Texas. He had success against them early in the year. I had to think more than anything is just the last couple innings, a couple of base hits, a couple of base on balls. The plate starts moving around. He just did not work ahead in the count as much as he did early in the game. But overall, really good performance. I mean, it's a big, strong kid, throws good. He did his job.
And because they've lifted him relatively early in the game, we're in the 5th, and he hasn't thrown a ton of pitches. Should Oklahoma get on a bit of a run, it's entirely possible that we might see him later on in the next day or so, should Oklahoma need him maybe in a relief appearance. So here's Levi Prater, an inning and 2/3 worth of work yesterday against Baylor.
Yeah, he did a really nice job coming in. And you can see first thing is he is extremely difficult on left-handers. It's a guy who steps across his body, got a little 3/4 delivery, really good fastball. He's a young kid. He's been asked to step in some really tough situations this year for Oklahoma and has come through.
He's 6'2", 175 pounds from Ada, Oklahoma. He has done some starting this season. In fact, had late season starts at Kansas State, at Central Florida, at Kansas. But here in the conference tournament, he's been put in the bullpen, and his assignment is to face guys like David Hamilton, who's going to hit it from the left side. Hamilton flew out to center field in the first and then walked and was erased on a double play in the third. Runners at first and second for Texas. Oklahoma has a 3-0 lead.
And for Oklahoma, they got a right-hander up in the bullpen. If Prater can get through these next three guys, which are all left-handed hitters.
Bunt is pushed toward the third base side, and that's foul, 0-1.
And you've got right-handers the rest of the way in the lineup for Texas. Once again, Texas has been able to get base runners. They have just not been able to execute what they need to do. The sacrifice bunt, the 2-out hit. Little things that can help you win a game.
The corner guys are in on the grass. The first baseman, Cavalli, is well in. Bradley Ware over there at third has to be cognizant of what's going on with Andy McGuire, the runner at second base. This ball is bunted into the air. Prater can't come up with it. He fires a strike to first, but that's not going to be in time, and they're loaded up for Texas.
Texas got away with one right here. The ball was bunted up in the air, and Prater just couldn't quite get to it. You see it right here, and it's bunted way up in the air. Just out of his reach right there, and then speed takes over. This is when Hamilton can really run and is able to beat the throw right there.
And you saw where Ware was, because he has to be worried about what's going to happen with the runner coming from second to third. He's kind of a no man's land.
Yeah, and ideally you want the third baseman to handle the ball in that situation.
Well, Oklahoma was unable to get anybody, so now the bases are loaded and nobody down. And here's Duke Ellis. Ellis on the season, 309. A 15-game hitting streak to close out the regular season. 4 hits in the series against Oklahoma back in April. Ellis with runners in scoring position, 237. And Prater misses low, 1 ball and 1 strike. With the bases loaded this season, Ellis, despite being a 309 hitter, has not done very well in this situation. He's hitting just 167. One ball, 1 strike. Grounded out to the second baseman. Could be 2. They get the 1 out at second base and another out at first, but a run does come in as McGuire works his way around. Texas is able to take advantage of that leadoff walk, and the Longhorns are on the board.
Yeah, but that was huge right there for Oklahoma. This ball's hit hard, but it's hit right at the second baseman, Mendenhall. Nice job by Prater to get the ground ball right there. And we'll see what Oklahoma does right here with their defense. They're going to play them a little bit more straight up. They're obviously playing Clemens to pull. Bradley Ware is going to stay at third base.
Jake McKenzie's the runner at third now. He had the base hit to left earlier in the inning. So Hamilton is erased on the double play, as is Ellis. And now Clemens. 19 home runs in the regular season. Number 20 would tie it. It's 3-1 Oklahoma as the sun starts to shine brightly and Clemens swings and misses. He's 2 for 2. A base hit to right in the first and another to left in the fourth.
Boy, the pitcher's friend, the double play. It got them out of what could be a possibly big inning right here in a hurry.
Second double play turned by Oklahoma in the game. 1-2.
Clemens had a good swing at that ball right there.
Well, they've got him shifted toward the right side, but again, Cody has gone to left and right with his base hits in this game. But now he's facing a left-hander, so they've got him played to pull. Right now, that left fielder, Blake Brewster, is lonely. There is nobody near him as he positions himself a little more toward left center field. Way outside, wasted 2-2.
Prater just looks extremely difficult on left-handers. Watching from up here and where his stride foot hits, really throws across his body.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th. Texas is finally on the board, but they're only going to get 1 out of it. Prater gets the strikeout of Clemens, and that retires the side. It was very promising for Texas. Productive because they got 1, but it sure looked like they might get a lot more. Andy McGuire walked, he scored, but Clemens, the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year, couldn't get any more runs on the board, and Prater is fired up. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. Welcome back to the Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. The Sooners, the number 4 seed in the tournament, have a lead on the top-seeded Texas Longhorns, the 2018 Big 12 Conference regular season champs. But these 2 teams, upper seeds in this tournament, find themselves in the losers bracket in an elimination game. An early one at that. 3-1 is the score. Oklahoma got a run in the first, a solo home run off the bat of Blake Brewster in the 3rd. And then another run manufactured in the 5th. They led 3-0. Texas finally got on the board in the 5th in their last at bat, taking advantage of a leadoff walk. Jake McKenzie had a base hit, as did David Hamilton. Oklahoma was benefited by a 4-6-3 double play, but Texas was still able to get its first run. So we head to the 6th inning. 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for Oklahoma. Longhorns 1 run on 6 hits now, and they have not committed an error either. Leading it off for Oklahoma in the top half of inning 6 is Kyle Mendenhall. He'll be followed by Thomas Hughes and Cade Cavalli. Oklahoma, as the lower seed, is the visiting team on the scoreboard. The 0-1. And now 1-1.
Oh, what a great job by Prater. Comes in, gets the ground ball double play, and then gets the Big 12 Player of the Year to chase a high fastball strike 3. That had the makings of a really big inning for Texas, and he comes in and just shuts the door.
Now a ball and 2 strikes. In the air to right, and just foul, and not by much. If that's fair, maybe another foot toward the left, he's still running, because it is cavernous down there. The angles are odd. It is not an easy right field area to play for anybody.
Not at all. And boy, this one, it had to be just foul.
Now the first base umpire is Michael Banks, and he was pretty emphatic about the call.
Yeah, that right field area has a little bit of quirkiness like a Fenway Park does in Boston.
Two balls and 2 strikes. It's 325 down the line, but then there are a couple of angles out there in that right field corner that make it kind of tricky. And then there's also a 365 sign, kind of flattens out to 377, 400 to straightaway center field. And then the quirks begin on the left side. Yeah. It's 415 in the gap in left center field, but down the line it's a little truer at 325 in the corner.
Yeah, it's a big ballpark. Ballpark, home of the AAA affiliate Dodgers, Oklahoma City Dodgers.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Nolan Kingham delivers the pitch. Ball bouncing out to the shortstop, and the throw's a bit high, but McKenzie brings it down. Hamilton had a long throw to make. We've seen the first baseman throughout this tournament. The games that we've done have all done a pretty good job of making the other infielders look good.
They've done a really nice job of picking some balls, coming off some bases to tag runners out. Got to remember, too, the biggest majority of these teams, except for Oklahoma State and TCU, I believe it is, all play on synthetic surfaces. This is a natural grass surface here. I'd like to get a wedge out there. Work on foul pole to foul pole shots.
I'm pretty sure you probably got 5 or 6 varieties of wedges in your car right now.
Nope. They're in the garage. They hadn't been acting real good, so they've got to have a little quiet time in the garage.
Thinking about things. Thomas Hughes is at the plate.
It's certainly not my fault.
No, yeah, absolutely.
No. So they've got to go out there and think about things for a while.
Get their game together. Hughes struck out looking back in the second and then singled in the fourth. And guides this to third. It's gloved and then dropped by Reynolds. He's got a long throw to make, and it's not in time. Hughes legged it out.
That's another ball Thomas Hughes hits hard. It should be his second hit on the day. Reynolds, this is a tough play right here. He does a really nice job of staying with it, but
and it does go down as a base hit for Hughes, who's 2 for 3.
It looks like we're going to get a pitching change for Texas. You know, Kingham did a really nice job. He kept his ball club in this game. Oklahoma had some opportunities early. They hit some balls hard off of him. He was able to make some pitches to get out of some situations. You know, he's got nothing to be ashamed of. He's given his team an opportunity to win.
Close play at first, but it goes to the Sooners, who have 8 hits in the game, and that'll be the last we'll see of Nolan Kingham in this one. He threw 86 pitches, but he leaves with the Sooners on top by a score of 3-1. Chase Sugart is the new pitcher for Texas. We'll tell you about him after this. Alongside Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. Nolan Kingham's day is done. Chase Sugart is the new pitcher for Texas. A native of Bridge City, Texas. He's a junior. And let's take a look at the last play. The base hit that goes to Thomas Hughes. He hit it hard to third. It went off the glove of Ryan Reynolds. And then here is the scene at the end of the run. You see, he puts his foot down emphatically, but about 6 inches shy of the bag. Now, we don't see exactly when that ball is secured by McKenzie, but nonetheless, Hughes was called safe. He does appear to drag his left foot over the top of the bag.
Well, from right there, it looks like to me the ball is secured and he's out, simply because he missed the bag. Yeah, it's a tough play right there. It's a tough call. The umpires have done a fantastic job thus far in the tournament. You know. Well, you know, the angle that he's on, he's right down the line. The runner's coming right down the line. You know, it's easy for us. We get to sit up here and have the benefit of a replay, but from what we just saw right there, Thomas Hughes should be out.
That is not amongst the plays that comes under what is reviewable in college baseball. So we play on. And there are base runners who have been playing the game for decades who are saying, you know what, defensive players have had the benefit of the neighborhood call since this game began.
Especially in the middle of the field.
So that neighborhood play.
Yeah. Especially in the middle of the field, the shortstop, second baseman, just kind of get in the general area. just make an effort to be in the area.
So you base runners, you got one.
Of course, you know, back once again when I played, you could put a left fielder in, or you could put a shortstop in left field. Now you've got to slide straight into the bag.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away to Cade Cavalli. He's 1 for 2 on the day. Hughes is the runner at first. And that's on the outer half for a strike 1 and 2. Blake Brewster will follow. There's 1 down in the inning. Oklahoma has a 2-run lead, 3-1.
Yeah, Cavalli with a good day so far, 1 for 2. He's hit both balls hard yesterday after really struggling yesterday.
This high in the air in the infield. Cody Clemens calls for it. He's got it 2 away. And now Brewster. Brewster only had 31 plate appearances during the course of the regular season coming into the tournament. 4 for 31, 129. Driven in 7 runs. He did have a couple of extra base hits, a double and a home run, and they actually came in the same game. That was a start in a midweek game against Little Rock back on April 10th. Well, earlier today he hit his 2nd home run of the season. And a leadoff shot in the 3rd.
No doubter.
Yeah. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 away, 1 on. Sugared from the stretch. 2-0.
If Oklahoma is able to go on and win this game, obviously you don't know what's going on with Steele Walker and Kyler Murray. Are they going to be able to play the rest of this tournament? So all of a sudden a guy like Blake Brewster becomes really important. And he's taking advantage of it so far today.
Dom Dorenzo as well.
Absolutely.
Two balls, 1 strike, 2 away. And there goes the runner Hughes, a delayed steal, and the ball goes off his hip, rolls into left field. He'll stay put. That was a very slow developing play, and it ends up with Oklahoma putting a runner in scoring position.
Well, he does a really nice job of selling it. You know, delayed steal, you take 1, 2, 3 hops, and then you're off and going. You try to catch everybody asleep. Thomas does a really nice job of selling it. Maybe if the throw's a little bit more towards the left field side or at the bag, you've got an opportunity to throw him out. But
now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Good base running. Good idea, too. You got 2 outs. Try to get a guy into scoring position. Nothing really hurt if you get thrown out right there. You got your 9-hole guy up, and then you roll it over back to the top of the order.
And now we're full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away with the runner in scoring position for Brewster. If he can keep this inning going, the Sooners flip the lineup and go back to Cade Harris.
Yeah, we've had situations where bases are open earlier in this game and a left-hand hitter, but you got the left-hand hitter Cade Harris standing on deck. So this is the guy you want right here. You want to go after him. You don't want to face Harris.
It's been a good day for Brewster. He's put about 25 points in his batting average with that home run.
Not a lot of at-bats will help that.
He went from 129 to 152 with 1 swing of the bat. Here's the 3-2 from Sugared. Off the plate outside, ball 4.
Another good at bat right there for Blake. Worked the count full and then took a really close pitch, but able to get back to the top of the lineup. Cade Harris, a guy who's had a fantastic season for the Sooners.
These are the kind of performances in a tournament setting like this. What you're getting from Blake Brewster that, okay, you're not going to have Walker in all likelihood. You don't know the status of Kyler Murray, but you give a guy a chance, and he has a couple of good days, and the next thing you know, you just continue to win, and you get into the championship, and maybe you steal it.
Well, you're out here at 9 o'clock in the morning. He has not had an opportunity to play much. He's excited to play.
Right,
he doesn't care what time it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, next thing you know, it's a guy that he brings a lot of energy to the team. And
that ball gets away from Petrinsky, but not far enough for Hughes to move.
But what it can do for his confidence going forward as well. You know, if he has to come back out, Oklahoma moves on, he comes back out tomorrow, and the next thing you know, he's playing left field again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for his confidence moving forward.
Same for Dorenzo.
Absolutely.
Got to start yesterday. Penciled in late. Penciled in after the game began today, after the Murray injury, and he's responded with an RBI double. The 2-1 pitch fouled back. Now 2-1, 2 away with 2 aboard. And Oklahoma leads it by 2. 3-1 is our score. A run in the first, another in the third, and one in the fifth for the Sooners, seeded 4th in the tournament. Texas finally got on the board with a run in inning 5. Both teams have gone to the bullpen. This is Chase Sugart for Texas. And Brewster checked it, beg your pardon, Harris checked his swing. That's a strike, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, change speed on him right there. Nice pitch. Got Harris out front, was not able to hold up. That's one of the few ones where I think hitters did go. Of course, if he'd have hit that ball, he might have hit it off the wall.
The 2-2 way inside, nearly hit him. And now they're full, and the runners will be going with the pitch.
Yeah, so anything that's in the gap right now, you've got a good chance of scoring 2 runs. Brewster will be getting a head start at first base. For a big guy, he runs good, though. So even if it's a long single, he's got to have an opportunity to score. As a base runner right here, you got to make sure, though, he goes to home plate.
Only 2 RBIs for Cade Harris in the month of May. Got a chance to pick up a couple of runs here. That pitch is low, and that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Oklahoma for the first time today. Second walk that Harris has drawn. And that pushes his season total to 60. So Hughes, who singled with 1 out, stole second, is now at third. Brewster, who walked just a few moments ago, is now at second base. And Brandon Zaragoza comes to the plate.
And I think David Pierce wanted that pitch right there. We're going to have a little word with the home plate umpire.
And this is not just to have a beef with the home plate umpire, but it's also to get this team rallied, awake, and motivated.
You know what, though? I mean, I know you can't argue balls and strikes from the dugout, at least not in the big leagues. I agree with you. I think this is one that you want to try to fire your team up right here.
That pitch is low. That's just off the shoe top. You're catching that in the webbing of the catcher's mitt, just off the dirt. This is a calculated conversation that David Pierce is having right now.
Yeah, there's no question. I would like to see him go over there and talk to the home plate umpire, not walk away, though. You know, at least hear him out.
Mike Morris is the third base umpire, and he's the one who came in rather quickly to cut off any conversation between David Pierce and John Brammer. It's not all that animated.
It didn't get a chance to be. His beef was with the home plate umpire, not the third base umpire. And he may be working this right here, too, to give his guys in the bullpen a chance to get loose. Had some guys throwing out there a little bit earlier.
Yep. There's not a lot of urgency in the bullpen, but there is some toss being played. But we've talked about it. Maybe it's just because it affects us, these 9 o'clock starts, but there is there is a body language that we have seen the last couple of days, and you see it every year. When you've got the early start, which is completely out of routine, and now you're in a loser's bracket game, there's got to be a spark somewhere.
Yeah, there's a little grouch factor.
And maybe it's got to come from the coach in a situation like this. So here's Brandon Zaragoza to face Chase Sugart. And he has thrived in situations like this. 397 with runners in scoring position, 400 on the year with the bases loaded. And the first pitch from Sugart is outside for a ball, 1-0. Hughes is at third, Brewster at second, and Cade Harris now at first. Oklahoma leads it by 2. And they're looking for more here in the 6th. Fastball outside half. That's a strike, 1-1. Zaragoza grounded out to the shortstop in the 1st, sacrificed in the 3rd, doubled and scored a run in the 5th. And now he's behind 1-2.
Yeah, another good fastball from Sugart right there. Zaragoza not able to catch up. I have seen managers, though, when guys are playing bad, teams are playing bad, they go out and they storm around, they get kicked out of the game, and it's just trying to get your guys a little bit motivated. You know, for Texas right now, this has to be hard. They clinched the regular season title last weekend. They come in here, they get the trophy yesterday afternoon. They face a really difficult pitcher. You know you're moving on to postseason play as far as being in a regional, but you still got to come out here and compete.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And now we're full. The bases are full. The count is full. 3-1 Oklahoma in the top of the 6th inning.
And once again, that long single with the base runners being on the move. Now Cade Harris can score on a long single.
The pitch from Sugart, and that's a fastball at the knees, called strike 3. Well, whatever David Pierce said to Mike Morris, maybe that influenced John Bradford just a little bit.
We'll have to see this pitch again, see if that's a makeup call right there.
We'll say it's a knee-high fastball for strike 3, and that retires the side. The Sooners threaten. They had the bases loaded, but they're unable to extend their lead. Oklahoma leads Texas 3-1. The Texas Longhorns, the Big 12 Conference champions for 2018, coached by David Pierce, Houston grad, coached at Sam Houston State and Tulane, and now in his 2nd season at the University of Texas. And for what he has done and what he did this year, David Pierce is the Conference Coach of the Year. First conference championship for the University of Texas since 2011. They were 17-7 in conference play, and this is a team that's been ranked as high as number 12 in the myriad of national polls. So how about we play a little trivia? How many Big 12 Conference Coach of the Year awards did the late Augie Garrido receive? Now, yesterday, you threw a dart at a board and came up with 4 for whatever our question was.
I thought it was a brilliant guess.
You want to throw a brilliant guess out there in terms of how many Coach of the Year honors Augie Garrido has received?
I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
He was there for 20 years. 5 championships, right? Regular season championships. Maybe more.
So you're going to go 5.
I'm going to go 5.
Okay. How about 6? You're close. 2002, 4, 6, 7, 10, and 11. And of course, Augie Garrido, the legendary coach, passed away back on March 15th. And it has been a season really throughout the collegiate baseball community to celebrate his life and his legacy, not just at Cal Poly, Pomona, Fullerton State, and also at the University of Texas, but for what Augie Garrido meant to the game of college baseball, promoting college baseball, and the legacy and the mentorship that he gave to other coaches at the highest levels of the game. That's just really remarkable. And of course, his famed jersey continues to hang in the Texas dugout.
Yeah, just a remarkable man, a remarkable career, the influence that he had on not only the coaches, you know, when you talk to them and the respect and admiration, and I think friendship is the big word that you hear too, but just that the players, you know, these kids' lives that he influenced. I mean, a lot of these players on this Texas roster he recruited. You know, just a sad day when you heard about the passing of Augie Garrido, but.
Well, the number 16, we saw the jersey in the Texas dugout. This is the Oklahoma dugout. They have the initials and the number also to honor what he has meant to the game. And, of course, Skip Johnson, the head
was with
coach
him for 10 years.
Yeah, for 10 years as assistant coach there. And interesting, because of his relationship and his association with it for 10 years as an assistant coach at Texas, Skip Johnson has much more of a relationship, or had with Augie Garrido, than David Pierce. David Pierce succeeded Augie Garrido as the head coach in Austin. And we asked all of the coaches earlier this week about memories and their relationships with him. And David Pierce said that there was a mutual respect from afar for many years. And of course, younger coaches all looked up to Augie. But once he got the job and was named his successor, he said there was no ill will whatsoever, and there was a genuine friendship that developed in the brief time that David Pierce and Augie Garrido shared, you know, space at the campus in Austin. But Skip Johnson certainly has many stories to share about what Augie Garrido meant to him. Jim Schlossnagle as well. Randy Mazey, the head coach of West Virginia, even mentioned that when there was a time when he was out of coaching, he just traveled the country. And one of the stops that he made in his car was in Austin. He said, Augie Garrido doesn't know me at all. I was an assistant coach and, you know, looking to advance my career, but he reached out to him. And Augie said, come on in, we'll have some dinner, we'll chat, and had a great impact on Randy Mazey's career and what he's been able to do in building the program at West Virginia. Now, we have had a pitching change in an unusual circumstance for Oklahoma. Levi Prater started to warm up for this bottom of the 6th and then called the trainer out. And Cade Cavalli, the Oklahoma first baseman, has moved from the bag to the mound and was given as much time as he needed to warm up for this relief pitching appearance.
Yeah, one of the unique things about college baseball is the two-way guys, and obviously Cavalli being one of those guys.
And now this isn't the only move. So who's at first? Well, who's on first is Lindsley, the catcher. And Justin Mitchell, who caught yesterday, has come in off the bench, and he's behind the plate. So a lot of movement with this Oklahoma lineup from the beginning of the tournament yesterday when Steele Walker was unable to go. Dom DeRenzo was inserted into the lineup. He played right field. Mitchell got a late start at catcher. Kyler Murray started today in center field. He went down with an injury. DeRenzo's in for him. Harris moves over to right, and now there's even more movement. You follow that?
No. That's why we have erasers, right?
Leading it off for Texas is Zach Zubia, who was 1 for 2. He singled in the 4th, struck out in the 1st.
You know, Cavalli's this is an unusual situation because you've got a kid, he's a big strong kid that can hit and hit with power, but the question is, what is he going to be? And when you're watching this fastball at 93, 94 miles an hour, and then he throws an 86 mile an hour slider right there, you know, it makes you wonder, is this kid going to be just a pitcher only down the road?
Two balls and no strikes to Zubia. Now strike 3 is called, and he sets down. And that's how the 6th finally begins for Texas.
Yeah, falls behind early with a couple of fastballs and then finishes off right there with one of those inside backdoor breaking balls. Hitter sees it in, gives up on it. Ball catches the part of the plate. Strike 3.
Mason Hibbler swings at the first pitch and drives it deep to the track in center field. And it's caught by Cade Harris. That's a long out, and there's 2 away. The wind has picked up, probably more so now than what we've experienced in the last couple of days here. The flag's in right, and again, it's tough to tell what the wind is exactly doing other than you can see that it's blowing, because the flags, there are some in right field that are blowing toward left, and there are some that are blowing out towards center, and they're almost side by side.
Some that are blowing straight down.
That's right. So Hibbler gave it a ride. 2 away for Ryan Reynolds. Hibbler's now 0 for 3 in that 5 spot. Reynolds is 0 for 2. He struck out and flew out. Now, using Cavalli is not unusual for Skip Johnson. He had 2 relief appearances in May, 1 against Kansas State. He worked an inning and then worked 2/3 of an inning at Central Florida. In all that, given up just 1 hit, struck out 3. Now, it's unlikely that he'll come back and pitch the 7th. This is kind of a mid-game emergency relief appearance. High in the air, off to the left. Brewster's over there. He makes the catch, and Cavalli threw more warm-up pitches than he did pitches during the game. Sets him down in order. 3 up and 3 down for the Horns in the 6th, and Oklahoma still leads it by 2. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. 3-1 is the score. Oklahoma has the lead on Texas through 6 full innings. 3-8-0 for Oklahoma. The Sooners have left 8 runners on base. 1-6-0 for Texas. They've stranded 5. You know, we told you that Augie Garrido is the all-time winner of Coach of the Year honors in the Big 12. Honored 6 times. No other coach more than 2. Steve Smith, no longer at Baylor. Mike Anderson, former Oklahoma assistant coach, no longer at Nebraska, obviously. Rob Childress, he's coaching in the SEC. And Brad Hill, well, he just stepped aside from Kansas State University.
Leading on the top of the 7th inning for Oklahoma.
Amazing run.
There have been some great coaching performances in this conference this season, and certainly winning a conference championship for the team that David Pierce had to assemble because of the drafts and injuries and the walk-ons that he used. Very deserving of the honor. Steve Rodriguez at Baylor, his team is the number 5 seed, but maybe the hottest team in the country, having won 19 of its last 22 games. They're in the winner's bracket. They'll take on Kansas later on today. Rich Price. Here's a team that has 2 of the best pitchers in the country, Ryan Zefferjan, and we saw Jackson Goddard last night. Goddard had a midseason injury that really put him on the shelf for about 6 weeks before he got back to 100%. They had to endure that. Ryan Zefferjan, they qualify for the conference tournament in mid-May, and it was no surprise to anybody that they picked up a win yesterday. Here's Dom Dorenzo checking a swing and tapping it back to the pitcher, and it's still Sugared, and he throws him out 1 away.
Well, you didn't even mention Josh Holliday at Oklahoma State. Had they won the Big 12 regular season championship, he obviously would have been most deserving of that title as well.
Jim Schlossnagle's always there. His job this year was to endure injuries. Lucan Baker, another, I want to say bizarre. You know, things happen in baseball. You know, he had the arm injury a year ago. This season, a mishap at second base. Just having to retool a lineup when you know you've got one of the best players and most explosive players in the country, and all of a sudden he's gone, and what do? This ball lifted in the air off the bat of Lindsley, who's now at first base. He flies out to center field, 2 down.
Yeah, both injuries for Luke and Baker the last couple of years, just really freaky injuries. He's another one of those guys. He's the Steele Walker to TCU, a guy that really hard to replace in the middle of your lineup.
Tim Tadlock at Texas Tech had a team ranked in the top 5. Here's Briley Ware ripping a shot into left field. That's past Reynolds. And the 9th hit of the day for Oklahoma, and it comes with 2 outs in the 7th. He's now 1 for 4. Our conversation with Tim Tadlock earlier this week, they're in the other bracket with Chad McKee and George Frazier calling the action. We're asking him about the season. He said, well, you hope right now is when you're playing your best. And you get into the postseason part, and I think anybody would look at them as a favorite, no matter when and where they play. But they stumbled last night, walking 14 Horned Frogs, and losing that game 12-2. That might be a team that's pretty motivated tonight once they get their nap in.
I would think so.
That game ended after midnight this morning.
Well, they were part of the reason that Texas was able to win the Big 12. They go into Stillwater last weekend and sweep Oklahoma State convincingly.
Two strikes to the hitter, Kyle Mendenhall. 2 ground outs and a fly ball out.
Tim Tadlock has done an amazing job. Lubbock, not an easy place to recruit to. His ball club, he's just getting better and better players down there every year. Just done a remarkable job.
That's outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We understand, and we did not see this, that David Pierce is no longer participating in this game, that he has been ejected for arguing balls and strikes. That must have happened between innings.
Unless you just flat can't do it. He must have ejected him early.
Or maybe it happened
in the argument, or between innings, or
it may have happened during that lengthy conversation with Mike Morris. And that's the reason why John Brammer wasn't part of the conversation. But something may have happened very quickly, but we did not get the heave-ho signal. But we understand that he has been ejected.
That's usually some of the best stuff, is the heave-ho ejection, and then the actions following that.
Yeah,
the dirt kicking and
the 1-2 pitch. Off speed. Mendenhall waited and fouled it back. The count holds at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 9 hits in the game for Oklahoma after just a 4-hit performance and getting shut out yesterday in the loss to Baylor.
I would venture to guess, though, that he's not too far from that dugout. Because most of the managers I played for, once they did get ejected, they were sitting right there in the tunnel.
The 1-2 pitch, slowly hit, gloved by Sugart, and that'll retire the side. Oklahoma got that 2-out single by Briley Ware, but the inning comes to an end on the ground ball by Mendenhall, and we'll go to the stretch and then to the bottom of the 7th with Oklahoma leading the Big 12 champs Longhorns by a score of 3-1. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Oklahoma. They got a run in the 1st, another in the 3rd, and another run in the 5th. For Texas, 1 run, 6 hits, and no errors. They got on the board in inning number 5. David Pierce, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, has been ejected from the game. This was the argument earlier, and nobody seems to know when it was that the ejection took place. And we're a little disappointed because we didn't get the show. This is the end of the conversation between Pierce, and it's the third base umpire, Mike Morris. And we got no get out of here indication, and perhaps it is here. But I wonder if maybe the ejection was immediate, that after they didn't get the strike call, that something was said, and immediately there was an ejection, and that's why the home plate umpire, John Brammer, walked away. Because sometimes the hook can be kind of quick if you're going to argue balls and strikes.
Yeah, that's one way to get you tossed in a hurry.
But in an era of The Greatest Showman, still in theaters near you, we want to see some fun.
I made the comment off air during a commercial that there's some perfectly good chalk lines down there that need to be destroyed. There's a couple of bases still intact.
Sean Allen and Philip Miller are the assistant coaches for UT. DJ Petrinsky, the catcher, leads it off. He's 0 for 2. Flew out to center in the second and again in the fourth. 1 ball and 2 strikes to him.
Boy, I saw some great ejections in the big leagues.
Oh, yeah.
Lou Piniella, he was beautiful.
Sparky?
Yeah, Sparky was pretty good. They were all really good.
You weren't with Earl Weaver, were you?
No.
But that's part of Oriole lore. Let's take a look back again. Take a look at this pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Petrinsky belts this into left field. Diving and making the catch is Blake Brewster, who's the star of the Sooner show today. A home run and that defensive gem in the 7th.
Have yourself a day, kid. Hits a bomb earlier in the game and then makes a beautiful diving catch here. Tell you what, that'll get you some playing time right there, big boy.
And Cavalli is still out there on the hill. He only threw 10 pitches in that 6th inning. So this is an opportunity for Oklahoma to save those guys in the bullpen. And if Cavalli can continue to pitch well, get defensive plays like that, hey, keep him out there. You've got a 3-1 lead. All right, we think we have found when David Pierce said too much, and it might have been again early in his conversation with the umpire. Pitch taken for a strike by Andy McGuire.
Well, I don't think it was a conversation about dinner plans.
1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, really, though, from what I've seen, I mean, these umpires have done a tremendous job. Their strike zones have been consistent. And the sign of a really good umpire is that you never see him. I mean, he doesn't influence the game in any way. And these guys have done a terrific job.
McGuire lifts this into shallow center field. Going back, Zaragoza calls everybody off and makes the catch. It ends up right next to Brewster. So there's 2 away. All right, here's the pitch. And I believe this was back in the 5th inning. This is the one that got him agitated. Now that looks pretty low. Petrinsky tried to frame it. And now watch the home plate umpire, and he's had enough, and there wasn't very much. John Brammer just turned around and tossed him, and that's before Pierce got out of the dugout. So good job, folks, digging through all that Zapruder to find the film that gives us the moment of the ejection. It was quick.
A little bit of a letdown, though. I mean, no running over there, tossing him out, you know, yelling at him. Just a casual, you're gone. David Pierce didn't even get the chance to go over and discuss it with him.
Cavalli misses inside to McKenzie.
Well, there's one surefire way, especially in the big leagues, getting kicked out of a game, and that's arguing balls and strikes from the dugout.
The 2-1. That skips 3 balls and 1 strike.
And arguing them from the hitter's box as well.
I remember several years ago working in Omaha, and Jack McKeon, the legendary major league manager, took the Marlins to a world championship later on in his career. And he was at Omaha, and after a game, sitting around and having some beverages with the crew. And I think he had coached in Omaha, was there visiting, and then was telling stories, which was kind of fun, as McKenzie draws a walk, and that's going to take us to the leadoff spot in the Texas lineup. And he said, let me just tell you, there's one word with variations that will get you ejected quicker than any other. And it's the word you.
Yep.
You, your, you are. Anytime you say that 3-letter word with variance, well, the umpire will throw you out.
The word behind it is important as well. I don't think we need to be discussing that word.
Sometimes you can use that word. You just can't put you with it. But anytime you direct something at an umpire, they will direct you to the exit.
You know what Sparky Anderson did? Sparky used to come out to the mound, and he'd say, let me know when he's getting close. And Sparky wasn't but about 5'2". And he'd get right up underneath the pitcher, when the umpire got close, and he would be bobbing in his head and just looking at the pitcher, and everybody thought, man, he is airing this pitcher out, and he's talking to the umpire. But he never turned around and looked at him or did it, and he got away with it. And then people just like, man, this poor pitcher is just getting lit up right now.
1 ball and 2 strikes now to Hamilton. It was reached twice. He's 1 for 2. He walked in the 3rd. He was erased on a double play and singled in the 5th. Tying run at the plate in the 7th. The Red River rivalry. Early morning in Oklahoma City. The Sooners, the number 4 seed. Texas, the top seed. The winner moves on. The loser goes home.
Don't you think the most famous ejection, though, had to be the George Brett home run?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Well, anything Billy Martin did. Those were some... okay. The George Brett singular ejection. But for body of work, Billy Martin and Earl Weaver are not class by themselves.
Yeah, that's 1 and 1A.
It's a Lifetime Achievement Award for them.
Lou Piniella, though, he was
right.
awesome.
You're right. No, I will not take that away from you. The 1-2 pitch guided into right field. Coming in, Dorenzo, and he makes the catch. Lost his footing, but didn't lose the ball. And that's how the inning comes to an end. Texas got a base runner with 2 down. But again, they can't dent that 2-run lead enjoyed by the Sooners. Dorenzo, well, he has made the most of his playing time in OKC. Three to 1. Oklahoma has the lead on Texas. We go to the 8th inning. Chase Sugar still out there for the Longhorns. They've got a lefty beginning to throw as this inning begins. And they're playing some toss in the Oklahoma bullpen as well.
Shot of the crowd. They had some nice crowds out here for early morning. You can't see the biggest majority of them because they're setting up underneath, which I don't blame them.
Good crowd and smart crowd. Stay out of the sun. Leading it off for Oklahoma is Justin Mitchell. Josh Sawyer is throwing for Texas in their bullpen. The 1-0 grounded left side. That's the shortstop Hamilton. Routine play, one of the easiest defensive plays we've seen. And there's 1 down.
Yeah, there hadn't been too many of them. 2 spectacular plays, though, by guys who have not played a lot this year for Oklahoma. In the outfield, Brewster first with the diving catch, and then Dorenzo with a sliding catch to end the inning.
Now Cade Cavalli. Started this game at first base, has pitched the last 2 innings. He's 1 for 3, beg your pardon. Grounded out, single to center, and popped up to second. A crowd of 3,800 plus on hand for this morning game. That's pretty good for a 9 a.m. start. Of course, when you say Oklahoma and Texas are playing in anything, people are bound to show up.
Well, both these programs, their fans travel really well. Texas and Oklahoma both. And too, it doesn't matter, like you said, what time of day it is. It's a Red River rivalry.
And those folks in the parking garage, they don't count in the attendance. I still wish they'd let us do a game from over there. I think that'd be kind of fun. Especially if you brought one of those big coolers that you have stocked. George could bring a grill.
Nice.
Down goes Cavalli.
We may not get anything done as far as the broadcast goes, but we'd certainly be full.
And we'd make a lot of friends over there. Now Blake Brewster. Well, what a day today for him. A solo home run to lead off the 3rd. A ball that was launched over the wall in left field. No doubt about it. And then he had a sliding catch, as Mickey just mentioned, off the bat of DJ Petrinsky that led off the 7th inning. laying out, diving, and making the grab to keep the leadoff man off base. Sugar comes inside. That nearly hit him. And Brewster walked back in the 6th.
Yeah, you notice he's taking the first couple of pitches here. Cavalli, the hitter before him, is now the pitcher. Sugar's only thrown 6 pitches so far in the inning. Just trying to give his guy a little bit of extra rest. Takes another pitch right there on a fastball that he would probably normally be swinging at.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 away. This is the top of the 8th inning. Coming up later in another loser's bracket game, Texas Tech and Oklahoma State will meet. Chad McKee and George Frazier will have the call of that. And then the winner's bracket games get underway tonight. First game of that doubleheader will be Kansas, the number 8 seed, and 5th seeded Baylor. It's a strike taken, and the count moves full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 away. And then later tonight, it'll be TCU and West Virginia, 2 lower seeds that picked up victories. That's right. Yesterday was a historic day in the Big 12 tournament. All of the lower seeds knocked off the top seeds to advance to play in the winner's bracket. And Brewster draws his 2nd walk. So with 2 away, we go back to the top of the order in Cade Harris. And all of those games have intrigue. Texas Tech, first of all, their game ended around 1 o'clock this morning, and there was a run rule, so they only played 7. Imagine if there wasn't a run rule and they had to go another hour. But that team, how rested is it? What will Tim Tadlock get out of his squad? Oklahoma State, of course, was a team that seemed to be in control of the Big 12 regular season championship and faltered the final week. So you know they're motivated. Kansas and Baylor, 2 teams that should provide a terrific pitching matchup in the first game in the winner's bracket. And then TCU and West Virginia, just 2 teams that are always enjoyable to watch, coached extremely well by Jim Schlossnagle at TCU and Randy Mazie at West Virginia. Randy Mazie was an assistant coach to Jim Schlossnagle for several years as the Horned Frog program was built into a national power. And when Randy got his opportunity to take over West Virginia, he's done terrific things with that program, and it's one that has somewhat embedded itself in the Oklahoma City community. There was a major storm a couple of years ago. Randy's team was in town, and what they did was, well, they did whatever they could to help out, and they volunteered, and they served in this community. And ever since then, there's a soft spot for the Mountaineers here in Oklahoma territory.
Yeah, we unfortunately had one of the bigger tornadoes that we have had come through, and more. And Randy took his guys down and did what they could with help cleaning up.
At the plate, Cade Harris. 3 balls, 1 strike. He's walked twice today.
And you mentioned Oklahoma State a while ago faltering and down the stretch. Baylor had a lot to say about that too, because the weekend prior to the Texas Tech series, Baylor took 2 of 3 from Oklahoma State.
Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. So Brewster, who is not being held, will be off with the pitch. There he goes. There's the pitch. It's high, ball 4. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. And now Brandon Zaragoza and DJ Petrinsky will visit with Sugart.
Well, they had the left-hander warming up, and he's still standing out there on the mound. If you're going to bring him in, I'm not sure you bring him in to face. They're going to bring him in to face the right-hander. So going a little bit against the odds right here.
So that will be all for Chase Sugart. 54 pitches in relief. He got the first 2 outs here in the 8th, but then walked the last 2 he faced. And Josh Sawyer will come in from the Texas bullpen. Still a close game, but Texas needs to solve the Sooner puzzle. Welcome back to Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City. The new pitcher for the Longhorns is Josh Sawyer. We saw him yesterday in a relief appearance, a 6'2", 215-pound junior from San Angelo, Texas. He inherits a situation in which there's 2 outs but 2 on for Oklahoma. 3-1 is the score. Oklahoma got Cade Harris to lead off the game. He scored on the RBI single by Kyler Murray. And then in the third, Blake Brewster hit his 2nd home run of the season, launching a shot over the wall in left field. That made it 2-0. Oklahoma got another run in the third, an RBI double from Dom DeRenzo. And then Texas finally scored in their half of the 5th. They had the bases loaded, and they scored the run on a double play. So some good news and bad news for Texas in that inning. They threatened and they did score, but that double play halted any momentum that they had brewing. So here's Josh Sawyer, who has a victory on the season in 25 appearances. All of his appearances have been in relief.
Yeah, he came in yesterday. He's one of 2 left-handers on the Texas staff. A little bit of an oddity there. Not bad numbers. 3.9 ERA, 27 innings pitched, 29 strikeouts. And opponents are only hitting .221 against him. You know, you asked me yesterday about what I would look for as far as guys coming out of the bullpen numbers-wise. And to me, it's the strikeouts compared to the base on balls, and what are guys hitting against them with runners in scoring position, because that's where they're going to be brought in the most, like this situation right here.
Well, the situation is Blake Brewster at second base after he walked with 2 outs. Cade Harris is the runner at first, and they're facing Brandon Zaragoza, who has been involved in a lot at the plate today. Tried to sacrifice back in the first, couldn't get that job done. He put the ball in play, and it was mishandled by David Hamilton. That enabled Cade Harris to go from first to second. Zaragoza was thrown out at first on the play, but with Harris in scoring position, that's at the table for Kyler Murray, who ripped the shot up the third base line and brought Harris in. Zaragoza had a sacrifice in the third, a double, and he scored in the 5th. And he struck out looking to end the 6th. 1 ball to him. Left-hander to right-hander, and now we're even up at a ball and a strike.
You don't see this a lot. You normally see the left-hander that maybe he would have been brought in the hitter before to face the left-hand hitting Harris. It just shows the confidence that Texas staff has in this guy.
That's away, 2-1. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Oklahoma is the visiting team because it's the lower seed. For the Longhorns in their half of the 8th, it's 2-3-4. And that's formidable. Ellis, Clemens, and Zubia. Fouled back. There's no activity in the Oklahoma bullpen, so is it possible that Skip Johnson is satisfied that his starting first baseman, Cade Cavalli, is going to continue in his relief role? One of the nuances of college baseball.
Well, I would imagine that as soon as the inning starts, though, they'll have some guys up.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Off to the right side, coming in hard is the right fielder, and that ball just lands foul. Andy McGuire is out there. About a foot foul, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wild started the game for Oklahoma and pitched well, but couldn't get through the 5th. Skip Johnson turned to Levi Prater, the left-hander, who was effective again for the 2nd consecutive day, but he went out to warm up in the 6th inning. And something did not feel right. He called out the trainer, and his day came to an end. And Cade Cavalli moved from first base to the mound. We thought it might be a brief appearance, but he's already worked 2 innings.
Yeah, we've talked about how important Steele Walker and obviously Kyler Murray is to Oklahoma in their injuries. Prater is just as important. A left-hander out of the bullpen, so there's got to be some concern about his health as well going forward.
Zaragoza ends up flying out to center field to end the inning. So the Sooners have left 2. That's 10 through 8, but they have the lead 3-1. With Mickey Tettleton, I'm Bill Dolman. And welcome back to Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark in Oklahoma City, reaching the latter stages of this game between Oklahoma and Texas. 3-1. The Sooners have the lead on the top-seeded Longhorns. And this game is falling right in line with many of the recent matchups in the Red River rivalry. Look at that. Last 19 meetings, a dozen of them have been decided by 2 runs or less, and it's Oklahoma in those closer games that has had the edge against Texas, having won 8 of those 12. Well, we've got a 2-run game right now, 3-1. To the bottom of the 8th, and Duke Ellis leads it off. He was hit by a pitch and left at third in the first, and he has hit into both double plays turned by Oklahoma today. On a ball that went off the glove of Wiles, the pitcher. It was played by the shortstop, and they got the inning-ending double play in the third. And then the 4-6-3 double play in the 5th that plated Texas's only run, but that was a momentum killer.
That was the big one. And what could be the play of the game so far. Because Texas, bases loaded, nobody out, big inning going, get the ground ball double play, and then the fly out, and you're out of the inning.
Strike called there, 2-1.
Once again, though, Texas has proven that they can come back on this Oklahoma team. They've done it twice already this year, and they did it in Norman, a place that's very difficult for teams to come in there and win.
Cavalli missed, now 3-1. And as this inning begins, and as you said, you can expect activity in the Oklahoma pen, and that's what we have. That pitch fouled back, 3-1. 91 miles an hour, that pitch from Cavalli.
Oh, there's no question about his arm. And that, I made the comment earlier, you know, he's a kid that hits, plays first base, as well as has done a marvelous job at first base. But then when you look out there and you see in 91, 92, 93, you know, you have to wonder, like, where does this, you know, what's he truly going to be?
And he lost Ellis. And Texas has the leadoff runner on with Cody Clemens, the conference player of the year, coming to the plate. He's 2 for 3 today. Singles in his first 2 at-bats, and then he struck out swinging to end that promising 5th.
What that does, though, that brings the tying run to the plate, and a guy that's hit 19 home runs on the year.
And Skip Johnson is going to go to the bullpen. He's already made the indication that he wants the left-hander. And that'll be all for Cade Cavalli. And what a terrific performance in an emergency mid-game relief appearance by Cavalli. So we have a pitching change for Oklahoma. We'll tell you what they plan to do when we come back to Oklahoma City after this. New pitcher into the game for Oklahoma. Braden Fink is out there. He pitched yesterday in the loss to Baylor. Walked a batter, and the only batter that he faced. He only threw 4 pitches. Nowhere to go but up after a performance like that. And all he has to do is try to get out the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year in Cody Clemens, left-handed hitter, who represents the tying run because Duke Ellis just walked to lead off the inning. And now there's more bookkeeping in that Oklahoma defense. Cade Cavalli, who started the game as the first baseman, pitched some middle inning relief, goes back to first base. So he'll stay in. Justin Mitchell doing the catching. He's the one who came in when Cavalli took to the mound. Lindsley had gone to first base. Well, now he's going back behind the plate.
Confusing.
These are things, bookkeeping chores that don't happen in the big leagues.
No.
But that's one of the fun parts about college baseball, the versatility of the players. And coaches who are able to think this through. Oh, my goodness. Well, Skip Johnson's gotten a handle on it. So Brady Lindsley started the game behind the plate, moved to first, beg your pardon, and is now back behind the plate. Justin Mitchell, who caught yesterday. Do you get a relief catching appearance? Is there a stat for that?
I don't know.
Well, if they hold on.
There should be.
If they hold on, this is a true team win for Oklahoma. But There's a long way to go. And Fink settles in to face Cody Clemens. Again, Cody is 2 for 3 today. You've got Ellis, the runner at first. Cavalli now holds him on. He's the one who put him there. And Fink starts him off with a breaking pitch for a strike.
Well, we didn't get to Fink's numbers, but his primary goal is, or his job is to come out of the bullpen. He's got 20. This will be his 24th appearance on the year. Guys are only hitting 194 against him. He is very difficult on left-handed hitters.
He's got the best in the conference at the plate now, and Clemens awkwardly swings through that pitch. He's behind 0-2.
And here we go with the shift. Briley Ware is now going to play what is normally a straight up second base. Mendenhall is deep in the hole. Zaragoza is still playing his normal shortstop position.
That's way outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, Clemens, his first base hit was pulled to right. His second hit, he placed it in left. The outfielders are deep, especially Cade Harris in center field.
Yeah, it's a no double situation because Clemens represents the tying run. So if he does happen to hit a ball in the gap, you want to be able to try to cut it off to keep him from getting to second base. Nice job by Lindsley right there on a breaking ball in the dirt.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Connor Berry is working in the Oklahoma bullpen now, as is Austin Hansen. The concern right now for Oklahoma, getting Clemens. There's nobody down with a runner at first. And Fink got him to strike out. What a moment for him.
Yeah, all 3 of those pitches were down and away from Cody right there. And yeah, he's trying to hit a ball out of the ballpark and just pulls off of it ever so slightly. But give Fink credit. 3 really good pitches, had him way out front right there. And he comes in and he does his job, gets that tough left-handed hitter out.
Fink yesterday 4 pitches and he walked the only hitter that he faced. Today he comes in relief with Cody Clemens representing the tying run, and he gets the player of the year to strike out. A new pitcher coming in for the Sooners. We'll introduce you to him after this. The new pitcher for Oklahoma is Austin Hansen, a junior out of Lenexa, Kansas. He's a right-hander. He'll be facing Zach Zubia, who is 1 for 3 today, has struck out twice, and he singled to left field.
Austin's really taken over the closer role for Oklahoma. 2-3 on the year, 31st appearance. Good ERA at 2.5. Big number there is 45 strikeouts and 35 innings pitched. This guy's a power arm, good fastball, good hard slider. He's really done a nice job for Oklahoma out of the pen.
Last performance was an innings worth of work at Kansas, and things didn't go so well. He gave up 4 hits, 4 runs. He did strike out 3. Had 5 scoreless outings prior to that game against the Jayhawks. KU took 2 of 3 from Oklahoma in that final conference series of the season. Now Zach Zubia, 289 on the year, 10 home runs. But he strikes out a lot. That pitch way outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Zubia did not finish the regular season strong. 1 for his last 12 in the final 4 games. That against Texas State and TCU. And he has struck out 6 times this season against Oklahoma pitching, including those today. Now 1-1.
Good fastball, 92 miles an hour. Once again, Oklahoma outfield playing extremely deep. There's a big gap in left center field. Right now they're trying to keep all the doubles in front of them.
fouled out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Still just 1 out in the Longhorns half of the 8th. The runner at first is Duke Ellis. Almost long forgotten because he walked so long ago. He led off the inning. And then Oklahoma made a pitching change, brought in Fink, who got Clemens. And now Hansen faces Zubia. Off the fist, a floater out to second. Gloved by Mendenhall. A courtesy toss to Cavalli at first. But Ellis is back, and there's 2 away for Mason Hibbler.
Yeah, that was a big jam job right there. Just not able to catch up to the good fastball.
Now batting left fielder Mason Hibbler.
Hibbler has struck out twice, and he flew out to center. So it's Hansen on the mound right now. It has been a busy bullpen that right now is getting some rest. But look at how much Skip Johnson has relied on guys out of the bullpen in the last 2 days. And not just the bullpen. You saw Irvin with the 5 innings worth of work yesterday, but only 5 innings from Irvin.
There was a lot of guys pitched, but the good news with that is there's only 2 guys that got extended, and that's Irvin and Wiles, both starters. So the bullpen is still relatively fresh because they have not pitched a whole lot of innings. And once you get on this losers bracket side, it becomes really difficult on a pitching staff to get all the way back to a championship game. So you really have to manage those guys and manage their innings even more carefully than you have to do in what would be a regular season game. Or regular season series, sorry.
1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs to Hibbler. Oklahoma staff has done a good job against these heart of the order hitters for Texas, including today. The guys in the 4, 5, and 6 spots for the Longhorns. You're talking about Zubia, Hibbler, and Ryan Reynolds. Combined 17 strikeouts, including today. Clemens 5 strikeouts, Zubia 6 times, Hibbler 6 times. Those are the 3 through 5 hitters, not the 4 through 6. But Reynolds, well, he's flown out twice. He's also got a strikeout in there too.
Well, it has a lot to do with them cats that they're facing on the mound. Goddard yesterday and Wiles today. I mean, that's 2 quality starting pitchers back to back.
And Hibbler takes a look at strike 3, and that's about as much emotion as we've seen from Oklahoma today, even after they got out of that jam in the 5th when they gave up a run. This team is pretty fired up right now about what it's been able to accomplish in what has been a total team performance. But there's 1 more inning to go. Can Oklahoma hold on to this 3-1 lead over Texas? Well, we're enjoying the first of 4 games today, and it's a good one with Oklahoma leading Texas by a score of 3-1 with the 9th inning coming up. Much more baseball to come your way. After this one, it'll be Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, another losers bracket matchup that a lot of people did not expect. It'll be Carson Teal for Oklahoma State. Ryan Shetter will go for Texas Tech. A 7-3 starter against a guy unbeaten so far this year in an ERA sub-3. Chad McKee and George Frazier will have the call of that game. Then we'll be back a little bit later on to bring you Kansas and Baylor in the first of 2 winners brackets games. And then Chad and George will be on hand for TCU and West Virginia. Again, this has been an historic Big 12 Conference tournament, and we're just into day 2. All of the lower seeds defeated the top seeds yesterday. And this is what the second bracket looks like. West Virginia knocked off Oklahoma State 8-5. They got out to an early lead and held on. And then TCU scored 6 runs in 1 inning against Texas Tech. Took advantage of 14 Red Raider walks and won that game run ruled in the 7th inning. A game that ended after midnight today. So West Virginia and TCU meet in the winners bracket, and Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, well, they're in an elimination game.
I'm interested to watch that game, see how Oklahoma State responds, and Texas Tech as well. They just met last weekend, and Tech was quite dominant in that series. sweeping Oklahoma State in Stillwater.
Leading it off for Oklahoma is Dom Dorenzo. Again, Dorenzo played yesterday. A late addition to the lineup when it was determined that Steele Walker would not be able to play. So he was in right yesterday, was not scheduled to play today. Next pitch a called strike, so he's behind 0-2. And then Kyler Murray, who started the game in center field, appeared to suffer an injury in his first inning at bat, in which he delivered an RBI single to left field. And after that inning was over with, Murray said, I can't go anymore. Dorenzo put back into the field, and the guy that is not ordinarily a right fielder has played extremely well. He's got an RBI double today and also made a nice catch defensively. That in the 7th inning. He goes down on strikes here. And there's one away in the Sooners' half of the 9th. We believe, or we understand, that it's a hip injury to Kyler Murray. That reported by the Daily Oklahoman just a couple of innings ago.
Stepping to the plate now, catcher
Not Kyler Murray, but Walker, rather. We saw Kyler Murray, as he rounded first base on his base hit, seem to twist his ankle. So a hip to Walker. Murray, we believe, may be an ankle injury.
That shows how important Murray is. They've already got it in the Daily Oklahoman on the news. Even though it's not a hip, but.
And the strike called to Brady Lindsley. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 away. And not to be lost in that injury conversation, Levi Prater.
Prater, yeah.
Sooner reliever went out for the 6th inning and then felt some discomfort, and they had to rely on Cavalli. That's out of the zone. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 away.
Well, with all the conversation about Murray and the draft and what he's going to do or not do, and you know, unfortunately for Steele Walker, a guy who's on the Golden Spikes watch list, I mean, it's really kind of taken away from the wonderful year that he's had, and not quite gotten the recognition that he deserves. Preseason All-American, all Big 12 player.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And the count's full to Lindsley.
No, I'm not trying to slight Kyler Murray at all. I think it's in a way, it's kind of been good for Steele Walker because he's just been allowed to go about his business.
Parker Joe Robinson is the new pitcher for Texas. Here's the 3-2, and he gets Lindsley to strike out. So back-to-back strikeouts to begin the 9th. Looking ahead for the Longhorns, it'll be Reynolds, Petrinsky, and Andy McGuire. That's 6, 7, 8 in the Texas 9th. And now Briley Ware, who's 1 for 4 today. Singled his last time up. That was in the 7th. So beneficial for a guy like Skip Johnson to have a Steele Walker, a player like that to rely upon, to know he's going to be one of your everyday guys. And Skip's not new coming into the program. He was here last year as an assistant coach, and Ware is hit with that pitch. So Oklahoma gets somebody on base with 2 away, and that'll bring up Kyle Mendenhall.
It's a hard bat, a hard glove to replace. I mean, Steele is just, ever since he got on campus, he's got one of the most pure swings I've ever seen a college player have. And now he's added the power element to his game, which I think is extremely important for him, especially at the next level. You know, he's been put in there in a number 3 spot all year long, and has just had a fabulous season, and that's just tough to replace. Now you got your number 4 hitter out, so you don't know if he's going to be available tomorrow, if they're able to hang on and advance in the tournament.
Pitch taken for a strike by Kyle Mendenhall, who's hitting .306. Mendenhall is 0 for 4 today. 3 ground outs, and he flew out to center field.
But really this is, if Oklahoma holds on, is a credit to the kids that have not played a bunch. Brewster, Dorenzo, who've had massive days today in this game so far, defensively and offensively.
Cavalli's relief appearance.
Cavalli, yeah. For those 2 guys to step in and play the roles that they have in this game so far, it's just been remarkable.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 away in the Sooners' half of the 9th. To right field. Andy McGuire settles underneath it, makes the catch, and that'll do it for Oklahoma. Ware was hit by a pitch with 2 outs. He's left on base. That's a dozen Sooners stranded through 9. Can they hold on? We'll head to the bottom of the 9th after this. You've got the Red River rivalry and some drama. To the bottom of the 9th we go. That's a pretty good show. You got a script that says that, and that's exactly what we have in this game. Ryan Reynolds, DJ Petrinsky, and Andy McGuire for the Texas Longhorns, who trail Oklahoma by a score of 3-1. Oklahoma got a run in the first, another in the third, and led 3-0 after the 5th. I beg your pardon, after their half of the 5th. Texas then scored a run in the bottom half of inning 5. They've threatened a couple of times, but the Sooners have been able to get solid pitching, some great defense, key strikeouts, and Texas has just 1 run on 6 hits. But we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and Ryan Reynolds leads it off. It's been a tough day for him. So far, he's 0 for 3. Petrinsky is 0 for 3. And McGuire is 0 for 2. He has walked and scored the only run of the game for Texas. So here we go.
Texas had their opportunities. They've had base runners to see if they can get that tying run to the plate again.
Austin Hansen continues to work off the mound for Oklahoma. 5th pitcher used by Skip Johnson in this game. Nathan Wiles started. He did not get through 5. Levi Prater was effective while he was in there. He left because of injury. They got an emergency relief appearance from Cavalli, their first baseman, and he was more than serviceable. Braden Fink did the job that he was called to do. The lefty came in and struck out Cody Clements, the player of the year, with Duke Ellis at first base, and then Austin Hansen replaced Fink, got the last 2 outs of the 8th. 1 ball and 1 strike to Reynolds. Reynolds on the season has 4 home runs. He's driven in 33. This ball is drilled, tailing toward left center field, getting over and making the catch is Cade Harris. 1 away.
Ball was hit good, but it just hung up long enough for Harris, who runs really well, to get over and make the play. He's done a nice job. He's starting off in left field yesterday, right field today. Now he's moved to center field today. And a kid that came in primarily as an infielder. He's made a nice transition to the outfield.
Here's DJ Petrinsky with nobody aboard. He takes a fastball for a strike. Briley Ware could shake hands with the umpire. He is so close to the line over there at third base. He's playing behind the bag and right on the line. That is a no doubles positioning for your third baseman.
Well, for me, until the tying run comes to plate, I'd rather see him playing regular, because right now the tying run is not at the plate. So what you're doing is you're leaving that gap over there bigger than it normally is. First baseman's playing off the line. You got a guy that throws hard, right-handed hitter.
Big foul.
And he just yanks it over the third base dugout.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Petrinsky. Everybody else defensively for Oklahoma is pretty much in their standard position. The outfield deep.
Well, Oklahoma's had some unique defensive alignments today.
On the outside corner, painted perfectly by Austin. He gets the strikeout, and there's 2 away. That's one of the best pitches we've seen by the Sooners.
Well, this is just another really good fastball, just right on the outside corner, just freezes Trinsky.
Oh, and you got to like the work done by Lindsley.
Yeah,
that catcher framed that pretty well for John Brammer to take a look.
Yeah, he's got some nice hands back. But the thing about it was he moved off the plate right there, caught the ball in the middle of his body. That looks so much better to an umpire than staying down the middle of the plate and reaching for it.
And now Andy McGuire. One strike to him. That pitch is a called strike. It looked a bit high, and it's 0-2. David Pierce, the coach of the Texas Longhorns, was ejected for arguing balls and strikes earlier. He probably would not have been happy with that one. But now the Longhorns are down to their final strike. 3-1. Oklahoma has the lead. No balls, 2 strikes to McGuire. Off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The last and only time that a top seed in the Big 12 Conference Tournament has gone 2 and barbecue, that's going 0-2 in its first 2 games, was TCU in 2015. That team, the regular season conference champion, it had its sights set on a national championship, and it had a short trip to Tulsa. And Texas has a short trip to Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma Sooners get McGuire to strike out, and that brings this game to a close. And Oklahoma staves off elimination with a 3-1 victory over Texas.
Well, for Texas, Big 12 regular season champs, you got to be a little worried about your offense right now. You score 2 runs in 2 days. Granted, they face some really good pitching, but they get to go back to Austin, regroup, find out where they're going to go. They had an opportunity, in my opinion, to come in here and have a good showing and then possibly host a regional, maybe be a national seed if they were to win the tournament. But for Oklahoma, huge win for them. You know, they were 2-0 last year. This gives them an opportunity to play 1 more game and get a little bit deeper into a tournament.
Here's how the first bracket looks. Again, it was Baylor, the 5 seed, defeating Oklahoma yesterday in the first game of the tournament 4-0. And then Kansas knocked off Texas by a score of 3-2. Again, it was Jackson Goddard with terrific starting pitching for Kansas that shut down the Longhorns. And Baylor and Kansas will meet later today in the first game in the winners bracket. In bracket 2, West Virginia knocked off Oklahoma State yesterday afternoon. The 7 seed picked up the victory over the 2. TCU beat the 3rd seeded Texas Tech 12-7. Again, that game ended after midnight this morning. How much do the Red Raiders have in reserve for the Cowboys? We're about to find out, because that game will start in about 45 minutes from now. So it's the Oklahoma Sooners, the number 4 seed. They played a losers bracket game this morning. They picked up the victory, and they will play again. But the Texas Longhorns, the conference regular season champion, their run in Oklahoma City comes to a very quick end. They lose it today by a score of 3-1.